All right. Looks like I'm live. Hopefully YouTube stays that way. It kind of froze when I was going live, but anyways, how's it going, guys? Glad to be back. I was trying to do these chats on Sundays, and I know not a lot of other guys are doing it on Sundays. That was my reason, but I just found out I'm busy every single Sunday, so I'm gonna have to kind of do this during the week if I'm gonna do a show. But anyways, like I said, good to be back. Let's see who's in here. We've got Mateo, 1371, as opposed to 674. I've got to remember to, well, I'll just call you Mateo. And Warsaw Patriot and JNNC. Glad to see you guys here. And is everything coming through good? Let me real quick here read what you guys are talking about. All right, looks like you guys are talking about the VSKA, otherwise known as VSKA. I can understand why you guys are talking about that. There's actually quite a bit to talk about with that today. Not really. I'm not a subscriber, let's just say, of the James Yeager channel. But Zeke gave me a call earlier and said, "Man, did you see what happened to those?" And I'm like, "Nope. Do I even need to?" And he's pretty much like, "Well, you can kind of guess what happened." And man, I predicted this from the beginning. I try not to be a hater or be biased, but I just knew this VSKA was basically set up to fail to begin with, right? I mean, as soon as they started coming up with fancy stuff like S7 tool steel, and they had to really, you know, market what type of metal the trunnion was made out of, and I think the bolt and maybe something else. Anyways, whatever. As soon as they started coming up with some kind of fancy steel for it, I just knew we were in trouble, to be honest. Which basically, here's what I want to start off by talking about, guys. When it comes to the AK, there's this whole, is it forged? Is it cast? Is it billet? Here's the deal. Just to say, you know, all casts are bad, all forged are good, I think there's a lot more to the story. It really comes down to this. The AK was made with basically slave labor in some countries, and in other countries, I wouldn't really call it slave labor. I'd say they were doing it for the love of the country, right? They were making these AKs because they truly believed in you know, having an army and having enough arms to support that army. I think a lot of people believed that. A lot of people too were thinking to themselves, well, I'm either going to make these AKs or I could be like a human test gel for these same AKs, right? Let's face it. So for multiple reasons, these people worked for not always free, but let's say very meager wages, in some cases even food rations. And that's how they were able to make a quality product for let's just say a little bit cheaper price, right? But this was all Cold War communism era stuff, which has absolutely nothing to do with the present day so-called global economy we're in, with the capitalism that our country still has some of. I don't want to say we're a truly capitalist society because that's changed a lot over the years, but let's just say we're capitalist. And there's just a lot different nowadays. So what it really comes down to is this. I'm going to start off with this. The fact that Century's even pretending to have a good AK for $600, that's where the problem starts, in my opinion. That's where they went wrong. The fact that they can't make a good AK for $600, I'm not blaming them for that. I'm just going to blame them because they're pretending that they can do it. You guys got me there? It's kind of a bigger philosophy, and this doesn't just apply to Century, but anyone that thinks that they can, from the ground up with, let's just say, union labor or even non-union labor, paying, you know, the lowest level shop rat, you're going to have to pay him, let's say, $12 an hour in this day and age. Any guy that's got some pretty good skill, let's just say he's not creating the jig, but he can run it once you set the jig up for him. That's a $20 an hour guy. A guy that can create tooling, repair a piece of tooling if it goes down, solve a problem if it happens, that's $25, $30 an hour guy. Just do the math, guys. With the cost of production, raw materials, the wages that unskilled and skilled labor is going to cost in this country, it's just not possible. You're not going to get an AK for $600 and expect it to be the same thing as a Comblock gun where labor was not an issue. Resources weren't even an issue in most of these COM-block countries, because instead of them buying steel from an entrepreneur who was trying to make as much profit as he could, heck, the government usually owned the steel mill. The government owned the mountain they were mining the iron ore out of, right? All the way from the ground up. The country was getting their materials for basically free that was making these guns, these state arsenals, right? They had either slave labor or meagerly paid labor. And it's just a total apples to oranges comparison. Different era, just a totally different structure. Now, with all that said, although I just got basically saying, you know, it's a better environment to build an AK in. That's absolutely true. The communist era during the Cold War was the best environment to build an AK in. Doesn't mean these were good places to live. I hate communism. I hate socialism. So I don't want anybody to think even for 1 minute that I'm going to say, like, I envy those days. Terrible that communism even existed. If we never had communism in this world, and it meant I couldn't have my AKs, SKSs, and Mosins, that'd be fine with me. But the reality is, communism had a hold for a long time in Eastern Europe, Asia, and other places. And under that system, they were able to make some pretty darn good AKs at a low cost. That's basically where I want to start. So I'm not an excavator necessarily by trade. I'm a landscaper, but I have some small equipment, you know, mini excavator, skid steer loader, a few, you know, small piece of equipment. And I have a good friend who actually is an excavator. Numerous other acquaintances are excavators. I'm familiar with this S7 tool steel. You could find it like on an ice bucket, let's just say, of an excavator bucket, right? It's extremely strong. It's extremely hard. So if you're going to rub like S7 steel, from my understanding, up against like pavement, blacktop, rocks and rubble, it's not going to wear down very quickly. However, when you have a strong loader that's really getting in there and there's some huge boulder and you've just got a couple teeth on it and you really give it a lurch and kind of jerk the hydraulics, what usually happens is the tooth just snaps off and breaks. So this S7 onion, I'm just gonna assume for now that everybody watched the Jaeger video that came out. I don't know. I saw it today. I assume it came out maybe yesterday, right, or today. So if you haven't seen that, this might not make a lot of sense, but I'm just gonna assume everyone watched it because I don't really, you know, want to go through all of it. But basically, here's the essence of it. Jaeger started off, let's say 3 weeks ago, right? And he was like, okay, guys, I'm getting some VSKAs in. Then he did another little follow-up video that said VSKA. That's how you have to pronounce it, which that was a cute video or whatever. I could care less. Anyways, so he said, you know, this is going to be the best gun ever. I think he made some comment like, I have 18 of them and I've trained thousands of people with them. And he talks about all the thousands of people he trained with the RAS and yada, yada, yada. Okay. So that brings us to the point where he's getting called out by some people. Everyone's like, come on, dude, how can you say this VSKA is so great when A, Century's buying them for you, B, they're paying you to do the video? And I don't know if they really did any of this or not, guys. I'm not going to start rumors. I'm just telling you what was going on in the comments, right? Everyone's like, you know, basically, you're a shill, and how dare you vouch for this gun when you don't know anything about it? Okay. Fast forward, Jaeger says, all right, guys, I'm going to step up to the plate. And I remember I rewatched that video today. He actually literally says, we're going to put up or shut up on this gun. Well, I hope he shuts up now. But anyways, he says, well, we're going to put 5,000 rounds of this ammo through these. And I think he even says in the video that Century sponsored the ammo or paid for the ammo or whatever. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. I don't care if people pay for gun channels, ammo, and guns. As long as they tell you you did, that's cool with me. So they paid for the ammo. And he says, we're going to put 5,000 rounds through it. And then, you know, he says something like, and here's the thing, guys. I don't even think Jaeger pretends to be an AK guy, by the way. And if he is pretending to be an AK guy, then shame on him. But I don't think he is. So anyways, Jaeger says, and we even might have a bucket of water handy. So if it's too hot to check the headspace, we're going to dunk them in water. and I'm sure everybody cringed at that, right? But anyways, I'm kind of getting off on a topic here. So there's all this hype, and then this 5,000 round test started. Well, the video I saw they basically started it after we presume one of them failed, like maybe off camera already at that point. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it was like, hey, look it, we're shooting this one now, and one of them already failed at 1,500 rounds, and now we're going to go further. Maybe there's another video that I didn't see, but the only range day footage of this test I saw was basically like in the past tense, off camera, one's failed, now we're going to test this other one. So they're testing it, and they're shooting away, and I guess they get to like maybe, I think it was like maybe 1,000 rounds, right? And they notice some kind of like crack or ridge in it. They're not quite sure what it is at that point. They keep shooting it, and then come to find out, yeah, the trunnion cracked. The gun went out of headspace, and then they just stopped the test, right? So I guess that S7 tool steel either wasn't up for the task. Now, I want to be careful the way I say this. I'm not trying to say that all S7 steel could never be up to the task. Let's just say this so-called S7 tool steel that Century sourced was kind of obviously not up for the task, right, on these two rifles. So excuse me, guys, my throat's a little dry. Anyway, so what Tim said, I don't know if any of you guys heard this. Yeah, Mateo brings up a good point. Brought Tim in to validate the test too. So this is Tim, otherwise known as Mac, right? Military Arms Channel. Tim's like kind of an AK guy, kind of not. You know, I could kind of call him 50-50. He owns a lot of AKs. He had his high school senior picture taken with the SA-85. The guys love the AK forever. He's definitely an AK enthusiast, has a lot of nice ones in the collection. I don't know if he's a true AK guy like some of us, because I don't think he's like lives and breathes these guns. I don't think he takes them apart. I don't think he builds them from scratch. So we'll say for these purposes, Tim was kind of the expert on hand. And then I think the guy's name was Don that works for Tactical Response. He was there. He was kind of the other expert, right? And I'll give Yeager a little bit of credit. Yeager just kind of stood there and said, hey, guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. I got to talk to Don, Tim, and then he kind of get a report from him. So Yeager was actually more in line than what I thought he would be. Anyways, with that said, I don't know if you guys heard Tim say, look, this S7 trunnion's obviously cast. He said, I can see the casting flash on it. Did anyone else catch that? Anyways, before I go on, let's read the comments here and see what we got. Oh, I'm glad to see Mel's in here, because Mel's probably going to end up with a lot more to offer on this than me in the long run, guys. So if you want to read his comments, you know, I'm doing this for fun, and I'm going to try my best to be as educational as possible. But let's just say Mel probably knows a lot more about this than me. So I'm glad to see you in here, Mel. And I think maybe since he has in the past, I'm assuming and hoping maybe Mel will get to look at Rob Skis when he's done with his. So we're kind of lucky to have Mel and, of course, Zeke, you know, in our crowd, guys. These guys are kind of the real deal. Anyways, let me see what you guys are talking about. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I was suggesting if someone's doing a AK build tactical, just put the high point stock on it. It's got the springs built in, and that's going to help for the recoil, right? I'm sure you guys will agree with me on that. That'd make a fine tactical Polish AK. Let's see here. Okay, Mateo said, what little experience I have with S7 tool steel is that unless the heat treat is right, the S7's iffy at best. Okay. I would assume so. And Mel says S7 needs to be double tempered too for toughness. That's really expensive per part. Okay, there we go. I was hoping someone could chime in. And again, my limited experience is if an excavator tooth gets to a point where the machine can overpower and the tooth just kind of jammed in there. I've never seen one of those that's on a quote ice bucket, right? And those are like the really hard tooth buckets that don't wear very easy. I've never seen one just like, you know, go from this position and just bend and stay there. Usually it tink and it breaks off. And sometimes even goes like flying across the yard. Let's see here. Warsaw says Riley makes a solid AK. I have no experience on that, so I can't personally vouch for that, but I hope they do. LA Fat Joe says the AK is overpriced. Yes and no. There's a lot of new people getting into the AK lately. I think the supply and demand thing's driving it up. But I would also say that I'm going to guess, just based on what they say it would cost to create like a Swiss K31 in modern days. I think Iraq veteran once said that it cost over $3,000 for us to make a Swiss K31 rifle in this country. Now, the AK is never going to be quite as finely precision tool as a K31. However, I trust Eric's numbers on that. Let's just say he's right. So if that's 3,500, I'm going to say 2,500, just to throw out a number, is what it'd probably cost to make a high quality milled AK variant. Maybe they could do a stamped for a couple hundred less. Let's say 2,200 to throw out a number. But I don't think I'm that far off, guys. I think we're talking a couple grand plus to literally make like a equal to or better than communist block trunnions, bolt, crucial parts, right? Barrel. Let's see here, guys. I'm going to keep scrolling through real quick. Yeah, Mateo said brought in Tim to validate the test. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think he was kind of like the validator slash judge slash kind of expert, right? Mel, okay, I think you were clearing up something I said earlier. Don the Armor had another VSKA that already had 1,500 rounds on it. That was the one they were going to use in the test if it failed headspace. So they used the second one. Okay, again, guys, I'm just trying to pick up because the video I saw, it looked like stuff had already happened before we got to see the second one go through its paces. So that's what kind of threw me for a loop. Let's see here. Tim's fond of the AR rifle. Of course he is. And yes, he's a veteran, and it is hard to find a vet that's not fond of the AR, right? M4, M16 platform. Of course they're fond of it, right? Like they trusted their life to it. So I kind of would hope they would be. Yep, okay. Mateo's confirming it's cast because he saw the casting. Okay. Let's see here. Warsaw. I will not touch another Raz 47 summer rifle like the VSKA. I agree. I haven't bought one, guys. And on one sense, I didn't want it to fail because, look, I own 2 small businesses in the United States. I'm a local business here in Michigan. I want every business, small, large, medium, to succeed, except for the really bad, corrupt ones. But let's just say 99% of the businesses in this country, I want them to succeed. So on that level, I was really, really hoping Sentry could do something. On another level, though, at the same time, that's what makes this complicated in my mind. I wanted it to fail. And the reason I wanted it to fail was because I'm tired of them pretending that they could even for $600 retail. Maybe it retails for $700, but let's just say it's like I've seen it for $599 and $619 all over the internet. So let's just say for $620 real retail, for them to even pretend to try to trick us into thinking that this is the best AK that's ever lived. They went through all this hype that they made it for a military contract. I mean, they essentially, in my opinion, told us that this was a military rifle. No, I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't believe that, guys. Mal saying forging can also leave a line similar to casting. I think Mel's probably right on that too, guys. I think what we find is a lot of times with our forgings we have, you'll see like on the forgings like a little bit of a line, if you will. I'm not an expert. I don't want to opine too much, but I think maybe sometimes they go through a couple little finishing processes and kind of clean some of that up, where Sentry just didn't feel the time to clean it up at all, right? So, let's see here. Okay, yeah, that's funny. Okay, hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself here. You guys are leaving some good comments. I really don't want to miss any, so just bear with me. This is why I do these streams, by the way, guys. I'm not an expert on anything. I kind of know a lot about a lot of stuff, but I'm not an expert. I learned like so much by talking to you guys, and I just kind of look at this as guys hanging out. And believe me, when I'm reading these comments, I'm actually learning probably more than what I'm trying to tell you guys. So So just give me a chance here to read for a second. Okay, let's see here. Warsaw, bad memories and bad history. Yeah, Warsaw, for anyone that doesn't know, he had a Raz. He's kind of got some bad memories. He wanted to be proud of it. And I understand it was a gift, dude, and I get all that. No one meant any personal disrespect, but we're going to try to tell you the right thing in here. Whether it's my channel, Zeke's, anyone, we're not going to just sit and sugarcoat it for you and be like, it's all right, dude. Your Raz is the best gun that's ever made. Doesn't mean that we want to hurt your feelings. Like I said, I know it was a gift. I might have kept it just as a sentimental gift, guys. I've got stuff in life that I don't even like, but the person that gave it to me was very important, and I just keep it just because of the fond memories of the person that gave it to me. So, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, yeah, dude, your Raz is shit, and we told you. And I'm happy that you've been learning a lot, Warsaw, and trying to, you know, kind of do the right thing when it comes to these AKs and not get yourself in a hole where you've got this bastard gun that the gas block doesn't even look right and worrying about the trunnion. I mean, there's no reason to have to worry about your trunnion cracking. I've never had a cracked AK trunnion. Let's just put it that way. Oh, let's see here. Oh, yeah, Jay brings up a good point, man. Even a modern-day SKS from the ground up would be expensive as hell. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah, I'd say easily mid-2000s, guys. Easily. I mean, besides the couple really rare ones, which I'm a big SKS freak. I have a couple stamped SKSs, guys, that are sheet metal and riveted. But other than those couple really rare semi-prototypes, as in they only made like a few of them, I wouldn't quite call them a prototype. They were more like in-field prototypes. They were just kind of floating with the idea and then quickly stopped doing it. So, besides like that 1/100th of one, probably 1,000th% of the stamped SKSs, all of them are milled, right? And yeah, the SKS would cost a lot of money to make. It's basically like the mini Garand, as they say, or like the Comblock Garand. Did you guys imagine what a Garand would cost to make in today's day and age? Are you kidding me? Okay, let's see here. Mel says he's guessed around 2,000. Okay, we're in the same ballpark. Like I said, 2,000, 2,200-ish. I mean, whatever. The furniture can throw it off a little bit. Because good furniture is expensive too, guys. Don't forget that. I'll get onto the furniture on the VSKA in a second. Let's see here. Have we talked about the Francis? Oh, how's it going, Francis? Glad to see you here, man, like usual. Anyways, you're saying if we talked about HR 7115, Zeke did, and had a guest on. Mateo was his guest, and they talked about it for a while. So that was a couple streams back. They did. I can briefly talk about it in a little bit. I just kind of want to talk about the VSKA for a minute here and about how the fact that we could find ourselves getting nuked if we don't turn our guns in. But anyways, let's stick with the VSKA. Okay. Let's see here. Warsaw's getting a headache thinking about it. Look, guys, before you get a headache, I said this in Zeke's stream when I was in the chat. Look, we need to be vigilant. I called my two senators that would love to pass this HR 715, my two Democrat senators, Stabenow and Peters. I called them, whether it does any good or not, told them I'm adamantly opposed. I'll do everything I can to vote you out of office. If it comes across, you better vote it down. Representative Wahlberg, he's my representative to Congress, called his office. Now, he's pro-gun, and I said, look, I know you're pro-gun, and I know you probably won't vote for it anyways, but you better not, and I'll be watching you. But I appreciate the fact that you'll probably, not vote for it, and I encourage you and, know that I've got your back, and you've always done the right thing on guns, so just keep it up, man. And I think that's what we need to do. If you have a pro-gun rep, don't just ignore him. Don't let him give in to the peer pressure from his colleagues. Call him and be like, hey, man, or ma'am, whether it's a guy or a girl, say, hey, look, you've always done the right thing. I appreciate you having our back on the Second Amendment and being a patriot. But just to let you know, I'm still going to watch you and hold you accountable. And with all due respect, stand up to these other guys in Washington. And you have my vote, and it's 100 other people that think just like me, So it said, yeah, definitely remind your pro-gun reps and senators too, guys. Let's just say this, for example. I know one of the regulars in here is in Kentucky. There's a 0% chance Rand Paul is going to vote against. In this case, it'd be for. He's not going to vote against our gun rights. He's not going to vote for HR 7115. Rand's not going to do it. Well, I would hope that my friend in here from Kentucky would still call Rand Paul and say, I know you're not going to do it, Rand, but I still want to remind you that you better not, and I'm appreciate and thank you ahead of time for opposing this, and, you know, just keep it up. I think that's important, guys, because we don't want them to think that, oh, you know, there's no more gun owners in our state or whatever. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, like Mel said, I think I might have addressed this, but Mel said that, you know, one was to be the control, but after the first one went tits up, they used the control rifle for the test instead. Oh, okay. Never mind. Now I get it, guys. So, like I said, I came in. Is there another video that I missed? Because when I was watching it, it looked like the one gun had already failed. Now, maybe I noticed Jaeger titled this video part 1. So maybe part 2 hasn't rendered yet, and that's going to be like the first part. Or part 2, even though it was the first part, if that makes sense. I don't know. Either way, I'm under the impression by the time it was said and done, both rifles failed within 1,500 rounds. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Let's see here. Francis says, I want Century to fail. Hopefully they go back to importing. See, that's the part of it, guys. It's like me being a business owner, and I'm a big patriot, and I really want Americans to be like self-reliant, right? And I want us to be able to make everything the best in the world right here. Isn't that awesome? Like, you guys all agree with that. I still kind of want them to fail so they can just shut up and get done with this crap. Stop giving the AK a bad name. Stop trying to dangle carrots and get everybody all excited. I mean, there's people that this was their first AK and they worked really, really hard. And maybe skip their family vacation this year to save up that $620 to buy one of these. I have no doubt. And that they just wanted to get into the AK. Now how do those people feel, man? It's not even cool. So if I think about it that way, yeah, I'm glad it failed. It's complicated, right? Mateo says, I'll be honest, I did want the rifle to fail because maybe then they built it the right way. You know what? I totally agree with you, dude, but do you really think so? I mean, look at the RAS. Look at the C39 V2. You know, this is their third basic go-around at something that's been completely junk so far. I don't know. I agree with you in sentiment, and I know you agree with me that we can hope, but I'm sure you're not holding your breath, man, and neither am I. Okay, let's see here. Warsaw. Okay, I think I'm going to agree with you for once on something, man. Warsaw says the only thing he liked about the Raz 47 was the Rack 1 trigger and the Wolf trigger springs, which made me buy a Rack 1 trigger group yesterday for my upcoming new modern build. Yeah, I kind of like the Rack 1, guys. I really do. I haven't put like 5,000 rounds through one or anything. Maybe it'll break in half. I mean, I don't know. But as far as it not having that Tapco ghetto bolt hold open, it doesn't have none of that. It doesn't seem to be as hard as the from this. I haven't done any studies, guys, but from what I've been reading, the metallurgy is not overly hard like it is on the Tapco and on the ALG. I think the ALG AKT is actually like the hardest one of all of them. So yeah, I kind of like the Rack 1, and it might be like the only thing AK related that I approve of that Century's done to date. And it does have a light trigger. Okay, Lever Guns is in the house. Glad to see you here, man. I've seen you here before, and glad to have you back. I know you like lever guns, but I'm hoping you like the AK a little bit too. I don't just talk about the AK. It's just today I can't help myself. I have to talk about the VSKA. Let's see here. Matt Morrison. Oh, hey, good to see you here too. He traded his C39 V2 towards a 107 FR years ago and never looked back. Yep, I hear you. Probably the only thing the C39 had over on that 107 FR is the finish, right? Isn't it kind of funny how the Arsenals are great guns, but the paint just chips off like immediately? But that's just a little side note. Who cares? The Arsenals are still good guns. The Bulgarians and the SLRs, the SGLs did it too. The Russian guns, it's fine, whatever. Most Milsurp AKs you look at, unless they're a fresh refurb, have chipped up paint on the remaining parts anyway, so it's all good. It's just kind of funny how quickly the paint chips. Warsaw Patriot was more afraid of the rifle exploding in the future over the next coming years if the front trunnion gave out. Yeah, I don't know if it hurts you or not, but why take the chance? Shooting's supposed to be fun or supposed to be life-saving if you need to use it to defend yourself. You don't want to risk the gun itself actually killing you. I wouldn't even want 1,000% chance of that. Francis, let's see here. Tried telling people the SKS is a quality rifle. If made in America, it's the same specs, but they'll treat me like I'm stupid. I think the SKS is a quality rifle, period, guys. No matter what country it was made in. I'm a pretty big fan of the SKS. Yeah. LA Fat Joe says militaries around the world are buying premium AKs for $100. Oh, I totally agree. And the reason we can't is because all of our armistices we've had embargoes, we've had out and out bans, we've had sanctions. If you got rid of all that bull crap, heck yeah, we could have barrel kits coming in for $100. We used to. Let's see here. Martin Jenkins is here. Good to see you, man. Martin Jenkins knows a thing or two about the building. He's with. Well, let's see here. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it or not. He can tell you what company he works for. I think it's public knowledge, but let's just say Martin's in the business. Okay, let's hear Mateo. He said, yeah, I peed myself after hearing how I might get nuked. So I'm boxing out my guns for the jackbooted thugs to come get them. I'm going to talk about the nukes in a second. Anyways, Martin Jenkins is with AK Builder, guys. And I knew that. I just never know if like the guy's if someone's being on the down low or not. So you guys probably know who they are. If not, you probably should check them out. And you know, they're good. They're kind of the longest game in town, really, as far as from what I remember. They were one of the first companies that actually started selling the rivets, the jigs. They have a lot of jigs that go by their company name, like the AK Builder Tool Series is what a lot of people refer to it as. So, you know, they're kind of a mainstay. And, you know, if you guys have any questions, we like I said, we have Martin in the chat. So if you want to ask him, like, hey, man, what's the deal on this? Do you know if you're going to get any more of those? He might be able to help you. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to get nuked. I'll get back to that again, okay? Oh, I was assuming gender. Who did I assume gender with? I don't know who I assumed gender with, right? Like, I've called a lot of chicks dude in the past, too, if that's what I was doing. But, yeah, I'll assume gender. I can give a crap. If someone in here is really a woman, just say, hey, Glock, it's ma'am, not sir. And I'll be like, yes, sir, ma'am. So, I'm not very politically correct, but I could really give a shit. Let's see, Mateo. Already clacked out letters, Congressman, Kraft Fest, Yarmouth, and Senators McConnell and Paul. Okay, good. And from what I understand, guys, I've talked to congressional aides. They assign, like, if you will, a point system, like an email or filling out the form on their website. That might be worth like low points. I think the lowest points is if you just sign a form letter that like GOA or NRA does. Oh, don't do the NRA form letter, by the way, because they're going to tell you, like, Congress, just go ahead. We'll compromise everything away. As long as we can still keep our FUD guns and our 30-06 and our 12 gauge, just get rid of all of it. So don't sign the NRA shit, period. They're the ones that are going to get our bump stocks banned soon. Anyways, I digress. I think like if you fill out like a GOA form letter, that's like the least, that holds like the least amount of weight in your congressman's eyes, right? And or senator. And if you do like maybe on their website, that might be like a little better, right? And then if you write an email, that's even better. I think if you take the time to actually call and speak to one of their aides, I think that's worth a little more. And I've heard if you actually type a letter, sign your name to it, and put a stamp on it, they actually count that even more. Let me know if any of you guys know what I'm talking about, but that's what I've been told. How you contact them kind of makes it more, you know, more meaningful. Or just walk right into their office. That's the highest points. I agree. It's probably not a good idea, though, if I walk into Stabenow or Peter's office, because I'm just going to go in there with my Make America Great Again hat on and both middle fingers up and whatever. I can't stand those two. I wouldn't do anything out and how disrespectful to them. Now I'm not a Democrat, but I'd probably flip them off, something like that, something nice. Let's see here, Warsaw. Let's see what you had to say. Okay, you were talking to someone at work about gun rights and listened to a video about concealed carry issues. Yeah. Someone said they wanted to get rid of so-called assault rifles. Well, assault rifles is technically a real term. Assault weapons is the one they made up. But here's the problem, guys. They're lying still, because 99% of the time when they refer to something as an assault rifle, it's not an assault rifle by definition. They're usually talking about our sporting rifles that, don't have any more than 10 foreign parts, that were obviously semi-auto and can't even have a hole to make it where it'll take the third pin. So yeah, they're usually 99% of the time lying to you when they talk about assault rifle. Yeah, I agree with what Warsaw said. The AR is designed to save lives and defend liberty and people, not to take them. Yeah, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to take a life to save more lives. And if it's a really bad guy trying to hurt my family, I'm gonna save the lives, even if I have to take one, right? In a lawful manner, of course. Oh, let's see here. I have nothing against the 30-06, by the way, guys. I just it's just that classic round that like the FUDs will say is okay. Even though the funny part is it's like way more dangerous, if you will, probably in most cases, than the 7.62 by 39 or the 5.56. I mean, the 30-06 is pretty wicked. Let's face it. Let's see here. Mel has a lot of the AK builder tools and jigs. Yeah, like I said, they're kind of a mainstay in the industry. I know that they will sell a lot of different barrels. I know they do a lot with like Green Mountain, for example, which besides the Complock barrel, I think is probably the preferred USA made barrel. Chime in if I'm wrong, guys, but of the USA made ones, let's just say Green Mountain's probably the best. Let's see here. Yeah, screw the NRA, guys. They're really pissed me off. I don't really want to get into them too much at the moment, but man. Mike J is here. What's up, man? I know Mike J is getting into some building. I've heard you've talked to Zeke. You were on the phone with him and been in the chat. Glad to see you over here. Cave Dave's here. What's up, man? I think Cave Dave's a new guy. I've never seen him here, guys. I'm joking, of course. Okay, let's see here. Warsaw says it's funny how people are so effing dumb. They would see their rights, but keep some of them. You might as well get rid of. Man, you have a lot of typos, dude. I'm trying to make it through your post here. Hold on. Oh, I get what he's saying. You'd sell some rights and then want to keep some. As well, get a rifle. And yeah, you can. Here's the thing, guys. You can buy all the guns you want. And here's what I feel like with the NRA. It feels like for the NRA that what they do is they sell your rights, they take your rights away, and they sell them to the government. Let's just call it, right. And then they try to like sell them back to you. So they took something from you that you already had, that the NRA didn't give you. No congressman gave it to you. President Trump sure as hell didn't give it to you. Like God gave it to you, right? And you have it. You've always had it. But the NRA is going to try to have jackboots with guns, threaten to take it from you, so then you can give the NRA tons of money and try to buy your guns back. That's what it feels like. I don't know if I'm the only one, but does anyone else feel that way? Like they're trying to literally like sell your rights to one party and then sell them back to you. Let's see here. Mike J's got parts coming in. Yep, and the jig kit's taking forever. It's always something, dude. I mean, it's always. I got this back here, guys, and I showed this to you like 3 weeks ago, right? I can't remember to grab access pins for my house. I have everything else for this whole rifle, and I'm forgetting to bring access pins and the retainer clip, okay? So I totally get it, Mike. I totally hear you, man. At least you have a jig holding you up. I've got Axis pens and a stupid paper clip holding me up. Which, by the way, I do like the paper clip. Oh man, I'm probably gonna start shit by saying this, but everyone that says that everyone says you have to have the plate to retain the pins, and that the so-called paper clip that all combat countries always used forever is junk. Nah, nah. Trigger pin retaining plate, yeah, rifle's fine. Paper clip's fine. And I know I'm pissing people off by saying that because it always starts shit anytime I get in the forum and I say, I've never had problems with the paper clip. Maybe you guys don't know how to install it. Oh man, does that start shit? But probably not with you guys. Let's see. Cave's the old guy. I don't know if you're old or not, man, but I definitely know who you are. I just had to mess with you. You were like one of the first guys that subbed to my channel and started coming into my streams, actually. So Mike J's the young guy. So we've got an old guy and a young guy in here. What's better, the energy of a young guy or the wit and canniness of the old guy? Because I'm kind of stuck in the middle, guys. I'm almost 40. So I don't know if I should want to be young again or look forward to getting old. Oh, man, I'm not going to repeat what Mel said. He's probably one of the smarter guys in here. But he has a good sense of humor. Let's see here. Warsaw's got parts on the way and buying more. And putting a side rail on the build. I think it's good to have, man. There's some pretty cool mounting options for the side rail. Let's see here. Okay, Mike's bringing up a good point. He's asking, you know, if I paint the receiver with the optic side plate first or paint it twice with the paint on. So here's what I prefer to do, to be honest with you. And this may be too complicated of an answer, but I would like to install the side rail first. And I actually, if I'm going to paint a gun, I would parkerize it first and then paint it. I really like paint over park because the parkerizing is a very porous, kind of like granular finish. And that's why it works for that's why it works so well on a lot of the U.S. service rifles, because after you get enough oil in it, the oil just kind of soaks into the pores and doesn't really wipe off. Same thing with an enamel-based paint. The paint kind of goes in and kind of like fingers into the little grooves that are in that parkerizing and helps to hold it on there. Now, with that said, I hate just the straight-up parkerized AK. I hate it how all these Century guns nowadays come just with regular old park. Not a fan of that. Let's just say blued is my favorite AK if it's correct for the country. So if it's like a Chinese, I like it blued. The Yugo guns are generally all blued, you know, from the factory. Hungarians, the early Hungarian guns were blued. Like the AK-55, for example, was blued. And then somewhere in the early 70s, they refurbished a lot of the worn-out AK-55s. And when they did, then they went ahead and painted them, parked and painted them. I'm sorry. So you'll see the AK-55 and the early Hungarians go both ways. As you get to like the AK-63F, the AK-63D, the AKM-63, AMD-65, those all were painted from the factory. So don't know if that answered your question, Mike. I haven't had the best luck. Maybe someone else can chime in. I'm not real big on just painting like raw steel, if you will. I really think the parkerizing's if you want a really quality finish, I think that's a big part of it. Let's see here. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. Warsaw Patriots going to get a co-witness Midwest Industries mount and aim point red dot. Man, you should get a Trijicon. Trijicon, I think I told you guys this. They're like less than 5 miles from where I'm sitting. So support Trijicon. You know what else? I'm going to tell you guys this too about Trijicon. I don't know if I said this yet, but we're coming up here on Christmas soon. And if you go by Trijicon's headquarters in Wixom, Michigan, they have the most beautiful nativity scene you've ever seen. And they've been harassed about it. They've tried to been reprimanded by the city. They've But you know what? They don't give a crap. They put up like the most beautiful, beautiful nativity scene you've ever seen. We're talking like real life figures, you know, out there. And they really, really put a lot of money into it, make it really nice. And again, I'm not here to talk religion with you guys, but I believe, you know, Christmas is celebrating the birth of Christ. And I like to see a nice, you know, nativity scene. And I was, if you guys didn't know that, Trigicon puts up one hell of one right out on their front lawn in front of their world headquarters, which I'm practically neighbors with. So seems like a pretty solid company, you know. And I think their optics might be pretty good too, by the way. Warsaw Oxbow Black instead of Oxbow Blue. Wasn't Oxbow Black still bluing? It just changes it to a darker look. Maybe someone else can chime in on that. Warfighter Manufacturing. Glad to see you here. As far as showing you guys the shop, I'm on a like a webcam that's kind of, you know, tied in with the USB. I can move it around a little bit. You know, you can see some ammo back behind us, a couple guns hanging there, a bunch of crap. My shop's like super messy. I can go over here. You can see some RPKs on display, but I can't carry it around. I'm not on my phone, so I'm kind of like physically tied into the computer here a little bit. And here's the thing that sucks too. Like, I don't know if I should just do it, but I can't really even show building on YouTube according to their terms and conditions, right? So my shop's pretty cool. Yeah, right. Century's black nitride finish. I think that actually looks a lot better than the parkerizing. Again, I only like parkerizing on an AK for a base coat. I don't like it for a fine. It just gets too like scratchy and gritty, and you just kind of rub it on something and you can see like the mark in it, and then you have to like rub it back out with oil. I don't know. It's just kind of finicky. Black oxide is what you were talking about, Warsaw. Okay. Let's see here. Nice chunk of change for the aim point. Yeah, aim points are expensive. I think they're good though. The nitride finish looks good, but I did a quick video. You guys can go back and watch it after on my battlefield pickup, Romania model 65, right? And that was so-called nitrided barrel that I used, and I was able to rub it off with just like all the finish off with just like a little bit of real light sandpaper and steel wool. I was able to get it right down to shiny metal like nothing. So the looks of the black nitride, yes. Is it the most durable thing ever? At least the nitriding they use on the outside of the barrel, I don't know. I can't say it's that tough. It literally came off like as easy as paint. I don't know. I know nitriding does something supposedly to the surface of the steel and hardens it, and it may have a lot of usefulness on the rifling of the barrel. I'm not talking about that, but I don't think it's the most durable thing ever as far as just like, you know, cosmetics on the outside of the barrel. Okay, yeah, I've had this explained to me before. I'm not a metallurgist. Thanks for reminding me, Mateo. I just rubbed the black off, which is not the actual nitride. The black's just a byproduct. So yes, I didn't quite say that right, but okay, yes, it does harden the metal, and I'm just gonna believe people when they tell me that yes, it makes it harder. I've never tested it, but I think it's well known it does. Maybe it'll make it wear longer. But to use that as your black finish, I don't think it's the most durable black finish, okay? Any thoughts on Cerakote, like or dislike? The actual product Cerakote, I think works good. Duracoat also, they're good products. But man, I'm not going to do it to my rifles. I think you guys already know that. I'm kind of a for myself, for my collection that I'm going to enjoy. I don't enjoy an AK unless it's kind of like authentic to what it was supposed to be, right? Now, again, don't mistake what I'm saying here. I'm happy for you guys to want to have tactical AKs, and I have no problem with you guys having them at all. Not an AK snob. I think it's really cool listening to some of the stuff you guys say. With that said, I'm not going to do it. So while you probably won't see me Cerakoting too many of my rifles, just doesn't have the right look. Even if it's like a Russian AK that's supposed to be painted black, The Cerakote is gonna have a little different texture and like thickness to it, and it's just not gonna look right to me. I'm gonna want to paint it, even if the paint's gonna chip off. Once the paint starts to chip off, that's great for me. It just makes the rifle look more authentic. So I would like that. Now, for a lot of you guys on here, I think Cerakote is a good deal to use. I don't endorse one or the other, but Duracoat's a good product too, from what I understand. I don't know if I have it with me or not, but I do have. For fun, I bought one of those flat dark earth Cerakote at C308s when they were blowing them out on clearance, and I think I spent like $400 for that stupid thing. And yeah, it's kind of a piece of shit. We could go on and on, but at the same time, it looks pretty cool. So I have a couple things that are Cerakote. Just probably nothing I'm going to do to my AK. Yeah, Mel confirmed. I just rubbed the black off. That's not the nitride. Yep. But though, in all fairness to what the person was asking me is, do you like the nitride finish? I think they were talking about the cosmetics of it. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. The black has a nice look to it. It just doesn't it doesn't necessarily, it's not the most durable. But neither is paint, neither is bluing. But really though, like the AK should look a little bit worn in my opinion. Unless it's like a safe queen, but an honestly used AK, I think it looks good. Okay, Mateo's saying the newer Cerakote is much stronger than the older stuff that most use. And with that said, he's not a huge fan of it. Warsaw's working on a tactical one. That's fine. See, my version of a tactical AK is like a Beryl clone, right? I kind of have a tactical pistol though. I took a that old Polish Hell Pup I bought, the first gen, and I put on like some Israeli handguards and stuff. Every once in a while I flew around with it, but let's face it, a Hell Pup pistol isn't even a correct military gun anyway. So if I'm starting with something that's never going to be correct, yeah, I'll have some fun with it. Why not? Okay, Warfighter's chiming in here. He's saying Cerakote's epoxy and Duracoat's urethane. Okay, that's good to know. And that's probably a good thing for both, really. I mean, with some of my work that I do with sanding and, you know, doing floors and stuff, I'm a fan of urethane-based products, like let's say polyurethane, oil-based urethane. And I fooled around with epoxy too. I don't know. I think they're both pretty good. Correct me if I'm wrong, but TIN, titanium nitride, is basically a high-grade Cerakote finish. I don't know about that. I really don't. Okay, let's see here. Francis says this might be off topic because they don't have a favorite AK used in a video game. Man, I haven't played a video game in so long. You'll have to ask the other guys. I think last time I literally played a video game was probably when I was in middle school, and it was the my buddy had a Sega Genesis. So there you go. Cave Dave did Duracoat on the Tantalum, is not happy with it. Okay. I think anytime we talk finishes, you're going to get all kinds of results, guys. Mike J, I'm sorry, man. I guess I never answered your question. You're just wondering if I would paint it with the side plate on. I don't know. Someone help me with that. Is Mal still in here, or Mateo, or someone? You know, Cave Dave, whoever. I don't know. See, since I would first treat it with the Parker and then paint it with the side rail already on. I'm going to say paint it with the side rail on, and I'd like someone else to chime in if I'm wrong. Does it need protection, per se, for that metal that's going to be kind of not getting painted because it's behind the side plate? Should he be worried about that? I just don't want to give you bad advice. You know, I'll probably paint it with the rail on. If you really want to be technical, I guess you could kind of like tape off some of the area and just paint once where the rail is going to be, then put the rail on, then paint it. I just know when you get a bunch of layers of paint, it starts to get kind of funny. So Mateo's saying paint it with the rail on. Okay, Warsaw brings up an okay idea, I guess. He's saying you could paint it the metal first on the receiver, okay, and then put the rail on, then paint the rail. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting topic. I think you could go either way, man. But yeah, rust can be your worst enemy. Just like some of these Yugo factory rifles I bought, where they don't do a good job washing the bluing salts out. And man alive, my stamped receiver was almost eaten all the way through because they left bluing salts hidden underneath the front handguard on my M92 pistol. Man, am I pissed. Like, we're talking like barely any receiver even left on the bottom. It's so rusty. Because I bought the gun new. Didn't think I needed to look way down underneath there where nobody ever looks for bluing salts. But, geez. So, yeah, don't even get me started about that. Rust can really mess you up quick. You know what? The Alumahide, Mateo brought that up. You know, I fooled around with the Alumahide before. I was actually using Alumahide to paint ammo cans with a few years back, and I thought it was kind of a nice product, to be honest. Let's see here. Yeah, Mel said depends on your level of OCD. Yeah, I bet you the factories aren't painting it twice like that. You can bet on that. Okay, yep. Yeah, like Martin said, Warsaw. Yeah, I definitely agree with him. You can use the 5.45 bolt, the 5.45 mags, and change the barrel out to a 5.56. Yep. Unless you just do what Century did and put 5.56 barrel on your Polish Tanto and just shoot too small of a bullet out too big of a bore and have them all keyhole. Maybe some of you guys know what I'm talking about there. Well, the thing is, Warsaw, is you can't buy like an actual full barrel, right? But you can buy what was called the Archer. But not many of those were made, so good luck on that one too. Francis is telling me get an Xbox and 360 and play Red Dead Redemption. It's a masterpiece, fantastic story, graphics, and cool guns. I would, but I might like it too much, and I own 2 businesses, and I probably wouldn't like it. Probably wouldn't want to like it too much. Let's just put it that way. Wouldn't have time to do it. As addicted as I am to guns, if I got into some really cool game, I'd probably get addicted to that and just be totally screwed. Let's see here. Okay, yep. So Mike's admitting he's had a little OCD, which a lot of people do. I get it. I'm worried about when it comes time to deal with it. Yeah. Warsaw's not building something here. But I will say some of the offerings from WBP, right? Like the Fox and all that stuff where you can use the beryllium rail. Those are pretty cool. That's the coolest part about the beryllium is the that rail on the top. And Warsaw, that's the cool thing. You can stick with the 7.62x39. I bought one of those headspace kits from Arms of America that's the Beryl clone, but it's still in the 7.62x39. So I'm sure you know about that, but don't forget about those offerings. Okay. Oh, so everyone played all these games. Okay, let's see here. Mateo. Okay, Mateo's with me. Gave up video games many moons ago. Haven't looked back. Now, I did like to play Wolfenstein 3D, okay? In 1991, I can remember this. My parents bought the first PC in the house, right? And it was an Intel Pentium i486, not the i286 or 386, but this was primo. It was a 486 processor, and it had the 2 sets of floppy drives, right? Like the boot floppy, and then the one you can put your games in. And these were the floppy floppies, right? Like not the 3.5 inch, what we used to call the hard disk floppy disk, but these were the 5.25 inch, which is the actual floppy, right? Floppy disk. And I used to have, I'd boot into DOS, you know, off of the floppy disk, and put the other floppy disk in next to it. And man, I would play that Wolfenstein 3D back in the day, and I loved it. And it wasn't politically correct at all. It had like the swastikas on the SS troops and everything, which you know they probably wouldn't even put on the games today. But yeah. So yeah, basically I can go back to Wolfenstein 3D, and I'm really gonna throw you guys for a loop. No one's probably heard of this. Maybe you guys have, but There was another one that came out after Wolfenstein. It was called Spirit Destiny. Okay, and I had that too. So, oh, damn the nostalgia. Yeah, I know. Well, some of you guys are older than me. You guys know what I'm talking about. Warsaw's just going to be speechless on this. Trust me. All you young bucks don't even know about the floppy disk. Anyways, back to the stupid VSKA, guys. You know, what do you think? Are you guys happy it failed because you want? I guess I want to ask you guys a couple ways to look at this. You're either A, glad it failed, or B, you're not happy it failed, right? So if you're not happy it failed, if you're pissed off it failed, just tell us why. Let's just say you're happy, okay? You're super, super happy it failed. Why are you happy? Are you happy because you want them to go out of business? Are you happy because you don't want AKs made here? Or are you happy because maybe like they'll do a better job next time? I just kind of wanted to know, you know, because for me it's kind of a little bit complicated. On some levels, I really wanted them to succeed. On other levels, I'm happy they failed. So my answer is both, right? Okay, Warfighter saying they still have swastikas in Call of Duty. I honestly wouldn't know because, again, I haven't played a game since like 1990s. But with that said, that's cool that they can have that because while I'm not a Nazi fan and I'm not a socialist fan, I still think that we shouldn't forget about that occurred in history, right? Let's see here. Oh, Jay saying my head would explode if I saw a modern day Wolfenstein. I didn't even know there was a modern day Wolfenstein. Again, I know literally the floppy, the you know, floppy disk version of it. But it was pretty cool. Let's see here. Ooh, Mateo still has an Atari 6400 somewhere. You better watch yourself, dude. You might be admitting to be older than me. Like I said, I'm not quite, but I'm almost 40. So, let's see here. Warsaw says the VSKA is shit anyways, and he's glad. Mel asks, is it bad to feel vindicated? Nah, why the hell not? It's good to be vindicated. Let's see. Does anyone know if the Polish rifles have a trigger hump and 3 spot welds? And yes, you know also about the floppy disk and Windows 95. Windows 95, but do you know about DOS 5.0 or Windows 3.1 or the greatest ever, Windows 3.11, Windows 3.11, where you started off booting to DOS, right? And then in the DOS prompt, you typed in win, enter, and then it would load the GUI, and you go into Windows 3.1. But man, back in the day when you had Windows 3.1, 3.11, or Windows 95, you could do anything back then. You literally could do anything you wanted. Let's see here. Yeah, Mateo saying his local fairgrounds banned the sale of WW2 Nazi memorabilia. That's BS. I think it is BS because look, it happened, guys. And if we forget that it happened, that's pretty much when we're doomed for it to happen again. That's like, you know, Orwell, like 1984 shit. Just make people forget about our history so that we can just do whatever the hell we want and they'll be none the wiser, right? Man, that's a good book. I don't want to get started on it, but that's a good book. I'm going to show you guys something real quick when it comes to that. Okay, look, guys, I just went over to an Amazon box, and these books are brand new right here. Not because I haven't read them, but I keep a new copy of these on hand, right? Like in stock, if you will. And I don't pass these out by the 100. I've actually had these here for probably a month. But if I get the right person in the right conversation, and you know, they're kind of not sure, they're on the fence, like maybe they're a little bit of a liberal, but they're not too far gone. There's still enough sense left where they're kind of wondering and asking questions. I'll give them, depending on the conversation, because these books are both, I think, equally great, but different. Depending on the situation, I'll hand them one of these. So that's how important I think these books are. I literally keep, these are just the cheap paperback versions. I just like to keep these around, and if I think it'll just help one person, you know, or maybe help our country a little bit, I'll you know, and then there's other good ones too. I mean, if you're talking George Orwell, Animal Farm's excellent, but I'm not talking about someone that like knows as much as me or knows more than me about this stuff. I'm just talking like sometimes you guys know what I mean. Like you meet the right person and you can just tell like this person's kind of maybe getting off on the wrong track a little bit. I think they might be getting led astray by the news or by their friends or social media, but there's still hope for them. I can tell there's still something in there where they're not quite convinced that they should be a modern socialist. That's when this book will come out and I'll say, look, this is a gift. I just ask you one thing. Would you read it? And if you don't like it, that's fine. But yeah. So anyways, I got started on the George Orwell thing. Figured I'd tell you guys something little that I do. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Warsaw's talking about a TV series on Amazon Prime called The Man in the High Castle. And you mentioned that before. I need to do that. I'm kind of curious. So thanks for reminding me again. Ooh, Cave Dave, man, you must be old. You stopped playing after Miss Pac-Man? Oh, man. Geez, Mel's going to be 26 years old, he says here next month. He's a young buck, too, it looks like. Okay, yep. And Votech, Mike J was fooling around with some command line stuff. Yep. We used to do that, too. Like, I took, like, a basic programming class, like, in middle school, right? It was funny. Brastard762 is here. Good to see you back, man. Don't forget to hit the likes, guys. Let's see here. Brastard has no interest in 100% American-made AKs. On the other hand, I love to have the PKM coaxial 308 made by the U.S. military in the 80s to replace the M73. Yeah, that'd be cool. And I also don't have much interest in American AKs either. Like, I personally don't have interest in them. Oh, geez, JNNC had to explain to our customer why not use a surplus cleaning rod and kit to clean their rifle. You can use them, but most people probably shouldn't. I think it's pretty much known that most military rifles had more wear from the cleaning of them than they did the actual shooting. In many cases, especially with like bolt action rifles, right? Like Mosins and Mausers, those type of guns, they definitely get more wear cleaning than they did shooting. Warsaw says that was him when he was younger. Yeah. Yeah, you've told us before, you know, and these are good books, man, and they're good reads too, you know. They really are. You know, like Brave New World and, you know, Animal Farm, 1984. There's other ones. I mean, these are like easy books to read too. You don't have to be a PhD to really get it, I don't think. I think it's kind of obvious. Okay, Mateo, 450 Fahrenheit. Okay, I forgot about that one. That's another recommended one, of course. Yep. Let's see here. Brainwashed and anti-gun. Yeah, because you have to be like brainwashed to be anti anything really. I mean, look, guys, I've had talks about this lately with some people. If you want to talk like a true liberal, like if you look at the literal definition of a liberal, I'm very liberal, guys. Liberal means that you're like accepting of what other people do. Now, I have to say that with a caveat, asterisk, I'm not a modern day liberal. No way, of course, right? But if you look at like literally what the word liberal means, that means that you should be like, you should have, you know, more openness to things and more accepting of things. Like, you know, I don't hate people with that are another color. I don't look, you know how bad I feel right now for those starving kids in Yemen, for God's sakes? I mean, that's terrible. I was literally, and I don't mind admitting this to you guys, I was scrolling through some of the recent, you know, news about Yemen and watching some of these pictures. I was literally in tears. I mean, not bawling like a baby, but I had, you know, it was moist and kind of getting down to my cheek. I mean, you know, I care about those little kids in Yemen. I care about the fact that our Bill of Rights is for the least of us and for the few, not for the masses. You know, so but nowadays that's what it means to be a liberal. Now what it means to be a liberal is to be essentially like a communist or like a fascist. I hate to say it, but all these groups are all these groups that are like call themselves anti-fascist, they're actually the fascists. Now, when I say I have a liberal mind with certain things, what I'm trying to say is this. Some of these things that the liberals white knight about and say, we're the only ones that care about starving children. Nope, wrong. I care about starving children. We're the only ones that care about the poor people. No, I care about poor people too. And I think that poor people need to work in this country. And I think that's great when someone opens a successful business and can take unemployed people, turn them into working people where they're not poor anymore. That's also great, guys. But there's other things too, though, you know, and some of this has to do with my religion. A lot of it has to just do with my core beliefs. I'm not really a liberal person. I'm just saying that like tongue in cheek. I'm just saying like I'm liberal, meaning like I think a lot of people should be included and get to enjoy our Bill of Rights. No, I'm not open to abortion at all, because that's not being liberal. To be open to be liberal and say you're pro-abortion, yeah, right. That's saying that, oh, we're going to give the mom the choice and we're going to be open to whatever the mom wants to do. But, oh, by the way, we're not going to bother to ask this unborn child that, in my opinion, is just as much, if not probably a lot more of a human being than the mother is. Probably a more decent human being than the mother. So, no, that's not being liberal to be pro-abortion. That's being very closed-minded to think that you could kill someone that can't even talk for themselves. Now, look, I'm not trying to get anyone mad if they're pro-abortion. That's not my point. That's just how I feel about it. And, you know, saying, oh, I'm liberal. I think that I should be able to say whatever the hell I want because the First Amendment. Okay, I'm liberal too then, because I also think you should be able to say whatever the hell you want. Even if I don't agree with you at all, you should be able to talk. And if you're just too much and or I don't have time for you, I'll just leave. And that's my right. But can you talk? Sure, keep talking. But how can you say I'm liberal and I have the right to speak? But then you just kind of like, but then of course they'll also say I'm liberal, meaning I have Fourth Amendment rights, and you can never make me self-incriminate myself with the Fifth Amendment. And then you'll go on and on and on, and you'll even talk about the 26th Amendment. But oh, how conveniently do they skip the Second Amendment? So if you're going to be quote unquote liberal and say that every last person, no matter how low down they are, no matter how wretched they are, they still got that good old First Amendment. Well, okay, I'll agree with you if you'll also agree that everyone has the Second Amendment and the Third and the Fourth and the Fifth, Sixth, Seventh, Eighth, Ninth, Tenth, etc. So yeah, I mean, no, I'm not a liberal, but I'm open to liberal views if it's if you're just consistent about yourself, you know. If you want to say, hey man, I have the right to talk about how great abortion is all day long. Yes, you have that right, but don't even dare try to take my AK, right? So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's kind of my whole view on the liberal thing. But with all that said, most of these quote-unquote liberals aren't even liberals. They're communists, socialists, which socialists and communists is the same freaking thing, in my opinion. There is no difference. The only difference is some different name to try to trick people that they deleted the swastikas. They've deleted the sickle. They've deleted all the communist symbolism in this country. Okay, delete it all. So that we can pretend to tell you that socialism's way different than communism. Yeah, right. Give me a break. All right, let's see here, guys. Kind of want to rant there. See if you guys hate me or not. I don't care if you do, but I prefer if you don't. Yeah, Mateo, socially liberal. Yeah, that's, man, I'm going to almost say yes, but it's just more complicated than that. And I know you know what I mean. It's like, you know, I'm not like so, and I don't want to go the other way. Some people are like so conservative, right, that they almost become fascist too. Like I've noticed a lot of pro-gun people in these chats we have censoring the crap out of people's speech. It's like, how the heck can you be pro-gun and say, look, I don't care if you like my gun or not, from my cold dead hands, because the Second Amendment prevents you from taking my gun. And that's what we all say to people. We say, look, you don't have to own a gun if you don't want it, but don't even dare to try to take mine. That's what most of us say. Well, how the hell can you say that in one sentence and then say, but hold on a minute, I don't like what you have to say in this chat, so now I'm going to delete your chat or complain about your chat? Hell no. If you don't like their speech, just leave the chat, right? Just like if you don't like guns, just don't buy one. If you have an AR-15 and you decide to go anti-gun, that's cool. I'm totally fine if you hate guns. Sell your gun. Just don't go out and try to take my right away. Just like I'm not going to take your right away to say whatever the hell you want during one of my streams. So it's not good to be too conservative either, per se, okay? Like, I'm just using these words loosely. I found most of these people that are on the extremes of anything are all screwed up, is what it really, really comes down to. So I don't know, man. I'm sorry, Mateo brings up a good point here. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't have a Freudian slip. I was reading Warsaw's while I said your name, so don't get too mad at me for saying that. But Mateo, yeah, I don't know, man. That's just too hard of a question for me to even answer. It's just like gotten so complicated nowadays. But I think maybe some of you guys kind of feel the same way I do. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Warfighter. I wasn't even reading the comments, but you said liberals' openness to abortion. In many cases, it is. And but maybe if you're still in here, you know what I'm talking about. Like, yes, liberals on the surface. Yes, you're right. Of course, you know, when you say liberal, you think pro-abortion. But I think if you're truly liberal, then you're gonna like not just look at the woman's quote right to choose, but you're gonna look at the child's right to choose, the unborn child. And I think a true liberal, if there is such a thing anymore, they're gonna be also just as open-minded to that unborn child and the life that he or she would have to lead. I don't know if anyone agrees with me on that or not, but that's kind of how I look at it. I think they use the term progressive instead of liberal these days. Well, that's the thing, Francis. I think they use both, and they're very careful. They're very canny about how they do it. Like they'll use liberal when they want to use it, and then they'll use progressive when they want to use that. And it's just all a bunch of tomfoolery, really. They're really careful with their words, though. How about the war in Ukraine? Warsaw's asking me. He said when he was 17, he cried when he saw innocent people getting shot on the streets during the median protest by their own police forces. Yeah, it makes me sad watching unarmed people get killed in this country, too. I mean, yeah, our troops have done it to our Indians. Our police have done it to our people. It's happened everywhere, man, and I don't like it wherever it happens. I'm kind of like with Rand Paul when it comes to a lot of this stuff. I'm very pro having a strong military, and I completely respect our troops, but man alive, we just need to get the hell out of a lot of this chaos and let them kill themselves, if you ask me. Braster's talking about, yeah. He's talking about what's going on right now with Yemen and Assad, and you've got Saudi Arabia, and really it's all just a big proxy war, right, between Russia and us. Then you take it down a little smaller, and then it's supposedly between Iran and it's between Iran supposedly and Saudi Arabia. But then when you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, third world countries where the people are freaking starving to death, and they're showing starving, bloated out infants dying in their father's arms, they're the ones that are actually getting bombed by our bombs. So don't even get me started on that crap. This is like a three-dimensional proxy war where it's ended up where Americans aren't dying, Russians aren't dying. It's not the Iranians and Saudis. It's freaking Yemen. We're going to go over. They'd be literally like this. This is how I look at this. So I say I'm pissed at Mateo, right? And I want to punch Mateo right in his shit, you know, just boom. And Warsaw's standing next to me. So I'm so pissed at Mateo, I just go like this, tink, with my messed up finger and flick Warsaw on the ear, and he drops down. He's unconscious. That's almost what it seems like, you know? It's like we're pissed at Russia, you know, Iran, Saudi Arabia. So in the end, our bombs are dropping on Yemen. Give me a freaking break, man. And I do kind of support Assad, by the way, because I think Assad, those people in the Middle East, you know, they need a little bit of law and order over there. And that's just to sum it up really quickly. Russia needs to leave Ukraine. Yeah, that's another complicated issue, but yeah. Let's see. Let's see, Obama. Well, when did Obama? How'd he come up? Man, I forgot about him. Where have I heard his name from? Who's Obama? Oh yeah, he used to be a senator in Illinois. That's right. He had a brief career though. He never really went very far. The video of Obama. I just said Osama. That was a true Freudian slip there. In Ukraine, getting them to disarm. They're taking Russian SKS and melting down the metal on the blocks and heating the factory by burning the stocks. Yeah, I saw that same bullshit. What a joke. That was a total joke. Oh yeah, that's right. That's who Obama is. He's not only, I think he was a senator that just served like one term in Illinois, and then he was seen on the tabloids that he married a woman that's really a man, but actually almost looks like a monkey, to be honest, in a lot of the pictures too. That's who that is. He was like I said, he had a really brief career. I think he was just a one-hit wonder, one-time senator, and from Illinois. That's who this Obama guy is you speak of. Other than that, I've never even heard of him. Let's see here. Warsaw. Let's see here. I do like to rip on Michelle Obama though, man, especially with that new book and the stupid shit she said. You know what I mean? It's just like, no. But it's good to relax a little bit, Warsaw. Even though, again, I do enjoy your speech, though. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy your speech, and I'm not being racist to his wife at all. It's nothing to do with that. Like, there's literally this funny picture going around where she looks like a monkey. I think you've all seen it. It's a funny meme. But that I swear to God, guys, that has nothing to do with her being black. And I hate that I even have to say that nowadays, right? But it literally has nothing to do with it. It's just that, whatever. It's a funny meme. Wait. Okay, Warsaw. Let's see here. No. I don't think Warsaw said that Mateo's pissing him off. I think he's saying, sorry, Mateo, comma, it just pisses me off. Is that what you're actually saying, Warsaw? I think that's actually what you're saying. Even though, don't get me wrong, like there's been plenty of streams where like Mateo royally pissed you off. And a lot of times it's good for you. But I think in this case, I think if you clarify, Warsaw, what you actually meant is, sorry, Mateo, but Obama pisses me off. Okay, yeah, that's what he was saying. Let's see here. Here's the problem, Warfighter. I think it's okay to be racist or not racist. It goes back to kind of like, if you want to go back to that old classic liberal thing, like I think this country has so much freedom that you're free to be racist or not racist. However, I'm not, and if you were to be, or to have the inkling that you are on a video, YouTube will like take your video down. So it has a lot to do with that too, if you know what I mean. Oh, Alex Jones said that said that she looks like a snapping turtle. Oh man, I don't even really watch Alex Jones anymore, but it's just, that is kind of funny, isn't it? Okay, Francis wants to know if someone could explain if the Russian restraint agreement that bans Russian SKS only applies to guns in Russia or ones in former USSR countries. I heard both and don't know which is correct. Okay, so the SKS thing's complicated. The SKS is not coming here was not actually like it wasn't technically a gun ban in of itself. It also wasn't like any kind of embargo or anything like that. What it actually was like an armistice. So they said like, well, if you stop these guns from coming in, like we won't put any more tariffs on you and all this crap, right? Sanctions, whatever. So that's a little different. So no, a Russian SKS can't actually come here regardless of where it went through. But other black countries, yes, they actually can. And even though now Bill Clinton's order was a little different when he like banned the Rinko, right? That if it's the way it was banned, if it sits in a neutral country for so long, it's then allowed to come back in and not be considered Chinese anymore, just due to the way that really like the really like nuts and bolts of how that type of law works. Now, Bill Clinton himself didn't have to say, look, I'm banning these Norinco guns forever, but if they sit in a neutral country for so long, they can come in. He didn't have to, just due to the way that law works, that if it's banned through the action and the way he did it, it becomes from the other country after it sits there so long. Now, with the Russian ones, the way they were banned under a different set of law, even though it's all unlawful in my opinion, but we'll call it law, those don't have like that expiration neutral country thing. So yes, you can get SKSs from other countries. Problem is they didn't make hardly any of them. From a few of the countries, they're absolute unicorns. From other countries, like China, we just got a bunch of Chinese SKSs in just like a year or two ago. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago now. Those are the ones that sat in a neutral country, in most cases Albania, for so long. For purposes of our trade restrictions, they were Albanian guns now and no longer considered Chinese guns. But from what I understand, those Russian guns will always be considered Russian guns and probably forever be banned, if you want my opinion. Although I obviously hope not, because I love the SKS. Let's see here. Yeah, hopefully I explained that. But I want to say one more thing about the VSKA guys. What did you think about that stock? So Tim's like, yeah, you know, the stock's getting a little bit loose. We should probably, and then the other guy that works for Tactical Response, he's like, yeah, we should probably tighten it up, right? And Tim's like, don't even bother. Like, you know, the holes are wallered out. And I just thought that was so hilarious, man. I mean, here's the deal. Most of you guys probably know more about this than me, but let's just say with my landscaping business, I've cut down a good many trees in my life. And here in Michigan, it's all quote unquote American maple if it's grown in the United States, because there is no species of maple tree where the proper name is American maple, right? So when Century says they used American maple wood, I think they're literally just stating like, this is maple of an unspecified type that happens to be grown here in America. I'm assuming that's what they mean, because American maple, that's not anything I've ever heard of, at least not in Michigan, right? But we do have what we call hard maple and soft maple. There's like red maple, silver maple, and they're night and day difference. I mean, if you look at it from a firewood perspective, like you could burn up like 3 face cords of soft maple and get the same heat as 1 face cord of hard maple. Growing time, it could take 70 years to get like, you know, a 70-foot tall hard maple tree. It could take like 20-something years, 25 years, let's just say, maybe 30 years, 35 even. We'll say half the time for a silver maple to grow the same height as that hard maple did. So here's my conclusion. I'm guessing, but I think I'm right. This so-called American maple stock, yes, it looks good. And that's the only thing I liked about that rifle, is I thought the furniture was pretty. And I think a few of you guys agree with me on that. I was reading the comments. So this so-called U.S. maple, yeah, Mateo agrees with me. Maple harvested in the U.S. Yep. It's probably just soft maple, to be honest. And soft maple is pretty too. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna be that hard. And then I will give Tim credit on a little bit. Tim did say, well, that's why they started laminating the stocks. Well, yeah, and then went to polymer in most cases after that. So-called Bakelite and polymer and all that. AG4 plastic, right? So yeah, solid hardwood stocks aren't even the best idea for an AK anyways. And if you are going to use hardwood furniture, it better be true hardwood, not like softwood hardwood. And that's where maple's kind of like, again, it almost feels like Century's back to like this tomfoolery kind of shit, where they're like, they use the term maple that most people think of as a hardwood, where if you've never been into woodworking or musical instruments or like I said, you know, landscaping or tree service work, a lot of people might not even know that there is indeed a soft maple that grows in most parts of this country, and it's just as soft as anything. You may as well make it out of river birch or pine at that point. I mean, soft maple, it's a little harder than pine, but not much. So I'm kind of upset about that whole, even though it looks pretty and it's great for all the people that don't shoot their gun, I was kind of a little frustrated how they had to emphasize every chance they could. Maple wood, you know, S7, you know, steel. I don't know, man. It's just all of it seems like it was just a little bit over the top. Maybe like they were kind of trying to compensate in a little bit there, you know. Let's see here. Okay, Brass would say lots of those Chinese SKS saw action in China and its border skirmish, including the invasion of Sino-Vietnam War. Yeah, I think like probably the most use of the SKS was in actual Vietnam. They supplied the Viet Cong, and I think that's where good portion of the SKS saw really used. But then after that, don't forget about like the Balkans. They were also showed up again there, and then other places, including the Middle East and including like even today. So the SKS is still around there. But yeah, man, that stupid VSKA, guys. I mean, so the stock failed. It lost headspace. But here's the one thing I am going to say. And again, I don't care if I make anybody mad. I like Military Arms Channel as a whole. I think the guy's a real AK guy. Here's where he's kind of full of shit. So they're sitting there with, to me, it looked like minimum. I'm going to give them a benefit of the doubt 36-ounce hammer. But I'm thinking more like a 48-ounce hammer. I'm just going to say 48-ounce hammer, right? They're holding. And the guy whacks it pretty damn freaking good. That part was a little bit off camera, but I watched that gun bounce off that plate carrier. And I'm sorry, guys, but you don't need to take my word for it. Go on full 30, because Zeke had to take them off of here. Watch Zeke's videos. Watch Zeke with a little hammer. Tink, 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 that barrel pin out. I get it. Sometimes the barrel pin gets galled. Sometimes it gets seized. No two AKs are alike, because there's a lot of hand fitting on an AK, regardless if anyone wants to admit to it or not. AKs are custom hand-fitted rifles. Now, so don't take me as a blanket statement here, but it is not out of the ordinary whatsoever to take a 4-pound or 3-pound, we'll call it in this case, 48-ounce sledgehammer, bang the shit out of the barrel pin, and oh, it started to walk a little bit. Of course it's going to walk a little bit. You do not need a press in many cases, I'll say, and probably even in most cases, to walk the barrel pin on an AK. So I thought that was a little bit of misinformation. I'd like to try to correct a little bit. And again, don't take my word for it. Zeke's a good friend of mine and a good resource. You guys all know Zeke. Go to his full 30. I think he has a lot of them reposted there. Watch him pound barrel pins out with a little hammer in his case. Tap, 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 tap. So I don't know if anyone else noticed that they're banging on it with a sledgehammer and they're like, ooh, the barrel pin walked. Now, yes, the rifle's a piece of crap. I'm not sticking up for the rifle at all. I think the rifle's a total piece of shit. But the fact that they could eke the barrel pin out just a slight amount, whacking it with a sledgehammer, that's actually, in all honesty, that's nothing wrong with Sentry there. It actually probably means they did a good job and didn't gall the freaking barrel pin, if you want to know the truth. Actually, yeah, that is how I'm going to say it. That's actually a compliment to Sentry that they were able to move that barrel pin with a sledgehammer. I don't know. Does anyone disagree? Yeah, the Czechs made, well, they made a VZ58. They made a VZ52. They made a VZ52/57 Warsaw. They didn't make a 52/58. By the time 58 rolled around, it was the VZ58. I read, Francis brought up something about the Fox WPP with the white bolt carrier. I would rather have the white bolt carrier, and I'd also like them to see them just do the bolts in the white too, because the paint's just chipping right off almost immediately. So why not just do it in the white too? And that would be proper. Some of my Polish kits, it is actually in the white. Some of them they're not. So it could be proper in some instances to actually have a white, in the white rather, bolt as well as carrier. Okay, Brester was saying the SK is actually imported from China into the U.S. Many still think they are commercial guns. Yeah, a lot of them. Well, some were made for the commercial market, but a lot of them were military surplus or maybe like allocated for civilians, but still made in the you know, military factory. Warfighter, good night, man. Glad to see you here, and I think you're subbed. If you're not, if you can sub, and then you'll be able to come in next time. Like having you here, man. So have a good one. Let's see here. Okay, I want to hear what Mateo has to say about this. Okay, I'll look at it this way. Sentry keeps sticking around, but the hope is now they are learning. You can't take shortcuts when it comes to putting out an AK. I think that's the truth. You can't take shortcuts, and since you can't take shortcuts on your materials or your workmanship, I think maybe, Mateo, we're getting to a bigger picture here. I'm wondering, is it actually true what I said in my opening that you probably can't even make an AK that's going to be good and reliable and retail it for $600? I don't want that to be the case, but I think reality's setting in, and that might be the real deal, right? Okay, look, Warsaw, the check on Mosin. Now, the VZ-54 sniper rifle, whatever. But I do have the name. I don't know about that one. I don't think that's the proper name for that. I think it's called the VZ. Gosh, now you're messing with my head because I'm thinking of VZ-52, 57s. That might be the right name, but I don't think so. Anyways, but there is the 9138. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. That's a pretty rare bird, and I'm actually a proud owner of one, and I really enjoy it. That's what they call the so-called Czech Mosin carbine. I don't know. Let me know if any of you guys have one of those. They're pretty cool. Let's see here. Mike J. Do you think in the future, we could get all the popular builders in a group chat and hash out some issue with the building community? I don't know. If you want my real quick answer, nope, probably not going to happen. If you just want my honest opinion. Because the popular builders aren't always the best builders, in my opinion. This gets pretty deep, but you did say popular builders, and I'm going to go by what you said. So that's what makes me say nope. Francis, Tim has actually done some stuff with the NRA. He did, like with their last annual meeting and stuff. He kind of simmered down a little bit. He didn't go as far with it as I wanted him to, but he's done a little more than just reviews. So I'll partially disagree with you on that. Tim's done some things. But all of them, including him, could probably do quite a bit more. Most of them, including him, could do quite a bit more. Let's see here. See, these Czech Mosins, that's the thing, Warsaw. I'm not trying to make this too complicated. Yes, you're right in a way, but they're not like truly Czech Mosins. They're like quasi Czech Mosins, like made by Russia for them under like it's a little more complicated than that. But I can get into those another time. I just don't want to get into it too much. It's not that I don't know what you're talking about. It's just kind of a rabbit hole for me to like really explain it. And I still want to talk about the biscuit we've talked about enough. If there's anything else you guys want to add to that, you can in the next couple minutes here. And then I'm going to briefly talk about this congressman before I get off. Actually, Braster brought up a good point, man. You know, I was actually thinking about this. I just never remember to say it when I'm online. He said Ruger should make a cast trunnion AK. You know what? I'd actually like to see that because as he knows, and most of you probably know, just think about it. They do castings. Like they make most, if not all, their guns from investment castings. But you know what? They have the quality control and they know what they're doing, that they actually pull it off. And Ruger has some pretty darn stout guns that whether you like Ruger or not, and yes, Bill Ruger's dead and he was anti-gun. I totally get it, guys. But whether you like the company and their politics or not, no one can really doubt that Rugers are pretty damn strong guns. Like, they don't really break in half, and these are cast. That's what I was getting at the very, very beginning. I don't know if you were here right when I started, Brastard, but you know, I said, look, guys, it's not as simple as just saying all cast are bad, all forged is good, all billet's good. We don't know about bullet. No, it's more like you're either a quality company or you aren't. I don't know. It's really just that simple. But you can make this conversation really complicated, or you can just period say, do you have what it takes or you don't? Because Ruger's figured out how to make excellent guns that are milled from investment castings. So whatever, you know. See, building an AK is way different than the Lego gun and AR-15. Well, here's the thing. You assemble an AR, and you still assemble an AK to a point, but I would say an AK goes into actually probably low-level building. I won't say it's high-level building just because, like, let's face it, like when we're, quote, building our AKs, we're not starting off with this big, huge forging and milling it down. That would be like a true build, right? But I'd say somewhere in between the AK where you are actually kind of building, where the AR, unless you're doing your own lower 80% lower, then I'd say, well, yeah, you know, you're actually milling and building at that point. But your common, you know, finished 100% receiver, you know, you're I hate those terminologies, guys. I'm sorry, I have to digress here. There is no such thing as an 80%. It's either a receiver or it's not. But I'm just using the terminology, right? But anyways, yeah, so I don't know, guys. It's like whatever. But yeah, I would say actually I would agree with you on the fact that yeah, you know, AKs I'd say we're doing a little more building than we are just kind of assembling. Braster kind of likes the finished Mosins. Dude, I like love the finished Mosins. I'm like completely in love with those. They're good. Amongst my favorites of the Mosins, for sure. And amongst the best too. If not probably the best. I think the M39 was like the epitome of like what the Mosin finally evolved to, and probably about the best you could ever make the Mosin. I think that's pretty much what the M39 is. If you wanted to put M39 definition, just do equal sign the epitome of the Mosin and just leave it at that. M39s. I mean, all the Mosins are awesome, and all of the finished ones are good. But just the M39. If you guys don't own one, you probably should because they've gone up in price a lot, but they're not done yet. It's still probably time to get in on one if you can do it. Let's see here. Yeah, Ruger does excellent castings. I don't want to get into Mosins too much right now, Warsaw. I'm already starting to. You guys got to remember, like, I'm into the Mosin probably just as much, if not more, than the AK. So you get me talking about Mosins, it's hard to stop me. Yeah, Francis is saying that he's famous, and people with that amount of fame should be using their fame to end all the issues, such as import bans, instead of just reviewing it. No, you're right, and I agree with you. But if you look back, in all fairness, Tim has brought to our attention import bans. He's had GOA. He's been in live streams with GOA. So, yes, maybe he should do more. But in all fairness, he has actually done some of that, okay? There's a lot worse than Tim. I want to say that. Let's see here. I don't know if you guys, yeah, just leave me a couple comments, guys. I'm going to be back in 5 minutes, and then I just want to talk about this Congressman for maybe another 10, 15 minutes after that. We can get off. But let's just say there's a congressman, and he is proposing this so-called confiscation, well, buyback/confiscation bill, right? Swalwell's his name, Representative Swalwell. He's going to try to buy your guns back from you. If you won't sell them, he's going to confiscate them from you. And let's just say he may end up nuking you. So I'll be back in like just a couple minutes, guys. Give me 1 second here. All right, guys. Sucks to be you, but I'm back. Anyways, is anyone else sick of this bullshit white stuff falling all over the place out here? I mean, what the hell, man? Here in Michigan, you know, southeastern Michigan, we'll say. This I had my first plow event like over a week and a half ago. Normally, I'm good to go all the way up till Thanksgiving, you know, and Thanksgiving's early this year. Thanksgiving's on the 22nd. Next year, it's going to be like the 26th or 8th or something, you know. Thanksgiving's early. It's still snowing a week before Thanksgiving, and I do snow plowing. So I was out there just kind of, maybe you can still see a little bit on my, it melted quick, but whatever. I was just covered in snow out there looking. And you know what? I used to like snow. I used to have snowmobiles, all of it. I can't stand the shit now because my biggest commercial properties are seasonal. So to be honest with you, I make more money if it doesn't snow. And second of all, you know what snow means to me? It means that I get to be out away from my family all night long, pulling 24, 36-hour shifts. So I hate the crap. Oh, man. I am racist against white shit if it's falling on the ground and making me have to stay up all night. Okay, guys? So I guess maybe I'll give people... is that a thing? Can I get reported and banned from YouTube for saying I'm racist against white shit that I have to plow with my truck? I don't know. Okay. Man, you guys are talking away. That's good shit. I'll be here. You know what? I wanted to say this too, guys. This is a pretty good crowd we have in here. We've got people that are just new into this, getting ready to build for the first time. We've got people that have been building for years in here. We've got people that probably will never build and don't even care, which is really cool too. And we got people that probably don't even like the AK in here, but they're still pretty cool. So this is a pretty good, well-rounded group. And if you guys have any of your friends, you know, that kind of think like us, just bring them on in here. I like to hear from new people. I'm not trying to like get a bunch of subs for my own pride or nothing like that. That's not what I'm getting at. But it's just cool once in a while to see kind of like, you know, a newer guy get in here. And there was a guy kind of liked by the name of Twisted Roderick that used to come in here. If you're watching this later, man, come on back in. I want you in the comments. You know, maybe you said some stuff that wasn't that nice, but whatever. You know, you guys can get over that. But anyways, you know, there's some pretty cool people in here. You know, some of you guys I can tell are more AK guys than others, but that doesn't even matter because this isn't even an AK channel, even though I tend to talk about it a lot. Anyways, yeah, I just had to say that because I'm reading these comments, and like I said earlier, to start it off, a lot of you guys are a lot smarter than me. That's why I'm pretty lucky to have you guys tuning in. I like to learn, man. That's always been my hobby, is just learning about this stuff as much as I can. Okay, Mateo says, Riley and PSAs have held up. Problem is Century just has a history of pulling BS by looking for shortcuts in their builds, whether it's an AK or something else. And that's true. Look at a lot of these guns that they've totally ruined. I mean, you know what? I'm going to have a whole Century show coming up here. And I'm not going to get into it right now. Because if I start, it'll be hours. Like, not a minute. I could go 2 hours about all the stuff Century's screwed up. Okay, let me just read this real quick here. Because I don't want to forget about this congressman. You know, this guy's a real tool. Let's see here. Oh, Warsaw. Earlier you said, how can you get a hold of me? Email me. Glockshooter79@gmail.com. So it's just my username on YouTube @gmail.com. And I've had a few of you guys email me, you know. Actually, Francis can I've emailed Francis and he can tell you. Anyways, let's see here. A few of you guys have emailed me with some questions, and I've been happy to try to answer it the best I can, you know. I'll give you my opinion, and if I know it's a fact, I'll tell you it's a fact. But a lot of it's just me trying to help with my best opinion I can give you. Brastard's M39 is built on an 1896 Tula receiver. Yeah, man. So you understand the M39. Like, if you own one, you get it, right? And by the way, most of them were on antique receivers from what I've noticed. I've noticed many finished guns, period, were on antique receivers. And that's kind of cool because the receiver is all that counts. And contrary to what some people on Gunbroker might tell you, it can have a 1942 VKT, you know, branded dated barrel. But if that receiver under the tank says 1896, that's an antique, and they can ship it directly to your home. And they just have to not have any reasonable belief that you're prohibited. If they don't have to know for a fact that you're not prohibited. Civilians aren't supposed to like do background checks on each other, right? That's like what a nanny state does, is do background checks on people. No, unless you have a reason to believe the person's, let's just say, a felon or otherwise prohibited, 100% lawful to send them that M39, regardless of what year the barrel is, on an 1896 receiver. So just keep that in mind, guys. I love face-to-face transfers, and I would never even think about a background check. I just literally look at the guy straight in the eye, and I say, are you prohibited from owning guns? And if he looks me in the eye and doesn't do the weird shuffle and says, no, of course I'm not. Give me a break, dude. Or just says no, well, there you go. That's my legal obligation. Here's the gun. Give me the money. It's yours, sir. But I don't really sell that many guns. I'm kind of a hoarder and collector, so let's just say if I were to sell a gun, that's how I do it, right? Mateo, yeah, I stopped buying 9130s actually when they went past $89. The last big hoard of those I bought 3 dozen from Classic. And they were $89, but I got them swindled down to, like, they said their profit margin was so slim. They took like $4 off. So I got them for like 85 bucks a piece, bought 36 of them, but they did lump it together and gave me a hell of a deal on a freight shipment where by them grouping them all together, it was only about $5 a rifle for shipping. And then with my good friend owning a gun shop with the $10 FFL fees, that was my last big score on the Mosins. Haven't bought a 9130 cents. Now, I still do poke around. If an awfully rare or interesting variant pops up, I'm still always trolling Gunbroker for a deal on some of those. It's just I bought so many 9130s and Type 53s and M44s and M38s and even M91s, most of them, unless it's a rare one. I already had a bunch of those back when the getting was good. So I enjoy my Mosins, and I just like to look at them and hang out with them, but I'm not really a big buyer of Mosins nowadays. The carbine Mosins, yeah, they're cool. I mean, they're fun to shoot in a way, but I kind of like a rifle too. And I kind of like the M91, like the full length. I just like all of them. Like, to ask me to pick a favorite, I'm just probably not even gonna. I think they're all pretty cool. Francis, okay, so I stopped buying Mosins at $89 or actually $85 a piece. By no means am I telling you, like, sucks to be you, you're getting ripped off nowadays. Nope. If you can find one for $250 right now with matching numbers, bayonet, which I think always adds an extra level of collectability to it, because I'd say probably only 5%, maybe 10% tops are going to have a matching bayonet of all the imports. And you can thank people like Century for doing that too, because trust me, they came in with matching bayonets, and Century couldn't take the effort to keep them together. But I digress. Now, buy one right now for $250, dude. No, by no means will I or any reasonable person tell you you're getting ripped off, because here's why. You might be a little younger than me, let's just say. So just because you couldn't get them for that price, or even if you could have and you scoffed at it, better late than never. I don't think that you're going to lose money on your investment in the short term or even the long term at $250 matching bayonet, because non-matching bayonet's going for $300 right now on Classic. So yes, sir, buy it at $250. Although I think you understand what I mean. For my reasons, I wouldn't dream of spending $250 on one right now. But if you don't have one, then you should. Now, if you already have 50 of them, though, then I don't know, man. Why would you want to? But maybe you still would. Actually, I'll take that back. Maybe you still would, even if you have 50 of them. But yeah, 250 is good in this day and age, you know? Keep that white stuff up against their races against snow. Yeah, it rains down where, or snows rather down where you got a little bit. But the problem is you all can't drive in it. That's one good thing about being a Yankee. We can actually drive on snow. You get them Southern boys out on the snow, shoot. Literally, they go from like the perfect driver to like a 16-year-old girl in driver's ed. If it snows like 1 inch in the South. You guys know what I'm talking about. Bastard. I don't know where you're at. It rarely lasts more than a day. Are you kidding me, man? The ground gets wet, gets white where I'm at, and maybe this time of year we'll have thaws and stuff, but coming up here in the next few weeks, it's just going to stay white all year long. Limbert, what's the topic? Well, we've been ripping on Century with their VSKA for a long time. So you should probably go back and watch it if you want to hear about that. And right now I'm just catching up on the comments. And then there's a congressman that wants to nuke most of us, right? Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Bastard's M39 has both sights and barrel all canted. A bit different from each other. Must have been drunk or hung over. Maybe, or maybe somebody else had it after the fact. I don't know. As a general rule of thumb, the Finns were pretty good craftsmen, though. I will say that. I'd say yours is the exception, probably more than the rule. Okay, so the 9159, those are another rifle I have. Those are another rifle that I'm proud to own, and those are cool too. That's the so-called KGB Mosin. I don't think that's actually true, but maybe it is. It's fun to say it is, right? M38s are nice guns. All my M38s seem to be counterbored. I think that's pretty much standard for those. But my M44 variants normally are not. In fact, I don't know if any of my M44s are counterboard. And I don't know if any of my M38s are non-counterboard. But it gets complicated because don't confuse what I was saying. The M91/38, that's a completely separate gun from the M38. Cave Dave says we had a half inch of snow and it shuts down the city. I know. I just laugh at you guys because what the heck? I'm jealous, okay? I actually am. Because I could probably be like cutting lawns or doing landscaping work where some of y'all live right now. Instead, I have to plow this stupid ass white shit to, make a living during the winter. And I'm kind of chapped about it. So just let me rip on you guys, okay? It gives me just a little bit, just makes me feel a little good to not quite be so jealous, right? But no, I can't stand the summers in the South. It gets too hot. It's just there's no perfect climate anywhere, right? Unless you live in Ecuador, because like they don't have seasons, and it's always like 70 degrees during the day. So unless you live in Ecuador, there's no such thing as good weather all the time in this country. Yep, so we're talking about a Mosin, M44 with the MO marks. Yeah, I have a few MO marked rifles too. MO supposedly stands for Ministry of Defense, right? So supposedly the Ministry of Defense, which was like a separate like group of forces or guards, if you will, they would take one and then like refurbish it for their purposes. Most of the time kind of like tuning it up a little bit. And kind of those are usually pretty nice. And then they would do like that slash and then the date that they like re-arsenaled it for their purposes. And there's even, those are double dates. Now there even is a such thing as a triple date MO, which I've got one of those too. And that literally have 3 dates. It'll have like the normal date and the normal typeset font of like 1932. Then it'll be like slash 47 slash 49, let's just say. Usually the dates you're going to see with the slash are always past World War II. And a lot of the MO dated ones are hex receivers, but also a lot of them are round. Let's just say there's both. Oh, and it was stolen. So right as I'm telling you how cool it is, now I find out it was stolen. So that sucks. But it's a cool rifle. And you should probably get another one someday if you find one, because pretty cool piece of history there. But the thing is, what do you guys think about this stupid Representative Swalwell character, man? Like, okay, whoever didn't hear the story, look it up. Look up Swalwell Nukes. I think that's all you'll have to type into Google to find it, right? So here's what basically happened. This Swalwell's this liberal, idiot, fascist guy. He's a United States congressman, or maybe he's a congresswoman. I don't want to assume his gender because he looks a little feminine to me, but we'll just say congressman / woman. Congress, he-male, she-male, we'll call him. And he's a proponent. He's proposing this bill that's basically going to say, look, we're going to not only ban these quote-unquote assault rifles, which he calls all semi-automatics assault rifles. So we're going to ban all these guns, but we're not just going to ban them, we're going to buy them back. Which that whole buyback thing is the most hypocritical thing ever. Here's my definition of buyback. Hey, Warsaw, you want to buy my M44 off me for $200? Yeah, man. So I sell it to him, right? And then I say, man, I really miss it. Can I buy that back off of you? And he says, yeah, you can buy it back. And he sells it back to me. That's a freaking buyback. You can't buy back something that you never owned to begin with. Like, let me know what you guys think about that. Have you ever actually analyzed what the word buyback means and how freaking retarded they are? How stupid they are to like think that we actually don't like read through this crap. Buy back. They're going to buy it back. Now, if they were dishonest and said, we're going to confiscate it, but to get around it being even more illegal than it would already be, we're going to give you some compensation for it. So we don't violate the just compensation clause of the Constitution. If they would just admit that and say, hey, we'll give you some money, right? We'll buy it off of you. Of course, I don't agree with that, right? But I give them a little props because they can at least speak freaking properly. But no, they're going to buy it back. No, you ain't going to buy it back, dude, because you never owned it to begin with. So there's no back, right? And you never gave me my right to the Second Amendment. The founding fathers didn't even give me my right to the Second Amendment, right? So you can't like give that back to me either. So that whole like buy back, that in and of itself is like the most insulting part of all of it. Like Mateo said, just call it compensated confiscation. I'll adamantly disagree with you and fight you till the end, but I'll at least give you a little props that you can actually speak to me like we're both intelligent human beings, right? So anyways, he's going to buy them back. And then what he says is, look, if you don't want to buy it back, he said it would be reasonable. And he was saying this on Tucker Carlson, right? He said, now, I think it'd be fine if you take them to the range. And this is this age-old thing all these anti-gunners always like to say, like, we think it'd be fine if you still technically own a said assault rifle. However, there's always a however, right? Like, I need an assault rifle in my hands, guys. Hold on. Okay, look. So here's what they're going to say. They're going to say, look, Glock, you can own this. But we're even going to let you shoot it. That's what this Swalwell said. We'll even let you shoot it, okay? Now, he was on Tucker Carlson. I don't mean he was on Tucker Carlson like Tucker was arguing with him tooth and nail, by the way. And this is where it gets to the nuke part. Tucker even told him you're going to start a war. So, no, I'm not throwing Tucker under the bus here, if that's what you thought, Warsaw. Okay. And if you can't stand Tucker, that's fine. It doesn't matter whether you like him or not. I actually do like him, by the way. I could care less. I just want to set the record straight. I'm not implying that since he was on Tucker, that Tucker was in on this. Anyways, so here's what he's saying, basically. This here assault rifle, his words, right? He says, now, you can still own it with my bill, but you can take it to your gun range. And if your gun range meets all of my qualifications, they can keep said assault rifle under lock and key that you own, and you can shoot it at the gun range, but you can't take it home with you. And then Tucker looks at him and he's like, but I wanted my AR-15 at home, and I want to use the AR-15, you know, to defend my family, is what Tucker says. He goes, who are you to tell me I can't take it home? I want it at home, right? To paraphrase, that's what Tucker tells him. No, he says. And then he basically tells Tucker's like, well, what's going to happen if I take it home? And he's like, well, if we catch you taking it home, well, then now you're a felon, so we're going to take it from you. And then Tucker says, oh, so you're going to confiscate my guns, right? And then this Swalwell, she Swalwell says, no, I'm not going to confiscate your guns. Like, I'm not going to go door to door and, like, just knock on everyone's door and look for guns and take them. No. We're going to either buy it back, which, again, you never owned it. You can't buy this back from me because you never did own it to begin with. And, by the way, you never will. Okay, so, and trust me, you never will own this, government. Like, you won't own it. Trust me. But, so he says, no, we're not going to go door to door and just knock on everyone's doors. And Tucker says something along the lines of, like, well, it's a good thing if you don't. Because, like, you can, like, he says something like this, guys, right? I'm not trying to misquote him, but, you know, like, you get shot if you did that. Like, you can start a war if you literally go to everyone's doors, dude. And then he's like, no. Like, if they don't want to sell it back to us, they can, like, keep it at the range under lock and key. And then, like, they can only shoot it at the range, but then when they leave the range, they have to, like, lock it back up, right? Oh, that's a bunch of crap. I mean, to even pretend that that's, like, that that's reasonable is literally insane. Like, to actually listen to this shit, literally, like, requires the listener to be dumber than the speaker, okay? That's why this shit gets me so mad, because it's like, you guys literally think that I'm, like, half as retarded as you think I am. Like, you're the retarded one for thinking I would even believe you, right? Do you guys, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But yeah, so you can lock it up at the range, he says. But if you were like to get caught with this in public and like transport it, which by the way, this is a pistol, guys. And I have a CPL, it's called, Concealed Pistol License in Michigan. I carry this freely around with me in my vehicle when I choose to. Because this is not a rifle, this is a pistol. And with the, the requirements and all that, I can not only have this in my home, which in this case I don't live here, I'm at my shop, not even on the same property as my house, but whatever. This is here with me, and I like to have it here, just because I can. It's not the only gun here that I could use to protect myself. It doesn't matter. It's not about that, right? So he says, whatever, you can like leave it at the range. Well, Tucker totally schools the dude, blah, blah, blah. He's just like, Tucker does that funny thing he does where he's like, and you think that's actually going to happen? Like, sucks to be you if you're the one going to the doors to like confiscate these guns. Because Tucker basically tells him, like, I'm not giving you mine. Mine's going to be home. And I thought that's cool that Tucker said on national TV that he has one at his house. It's good for people to hear that positive reinforcement, right? So, anyways, so then it's not over yet. Swalwell gets on to the Twitter after him and Tucker, after Tucker basically brought this to everyone's attention by having this clown on there. Which you guys all know that's what Tucker does, right? Is gets these clowns on there and then just roasts the shit out of them and like laughs right in their face. I mean, it's so badass. Every time you have like this Swalwell saying, "Now look, I'm not gonna go to your house and just like take it, like, but like if you transport it from the range, then I will." Tucker just goes, "Ah." I just think it's awesome how he just laughs right in their face, So, anyways, he gets on the Twitter, right? And this Swalwell, there's this pro-gun guy on there that basically says, like, you go trying to confiscate these ARs and these assault weapons from people, you're going to start a war, dude. I agree. There better be a few patriots left that are willing to fight over this, right? Good thing. That'd be a good war to have. So Swalwell says, but it would be a short war because we have nukes. So bring you guys up to speed if you didn't read that. That's literally what he says, but it'd be a short war because we have nukes. So I'm thinking here, hold on a minute. And I called my congressman and my two senators, my two he-she senators, he-she non-binary, non-specific, non-conforming, ABC, XYZ, FUCK senators, told them the same thing. And I said, look, like, I'm not an overly sensitive type of guy, but hear me out. I'm a gun owner of what they call assault weapons, and I own, and I'm not going to sell them to you in your buyback because you never owned it to buy it back. And the lady on the phone was just like, and I'm like, I'm not going to sell it to you. It's not for sale. Second of all, you go to confiscate my guns, there is going to be a war. And the Constitution demands that of me. And they're just like, whoa, like, fuck you, whatever. They still listen a minute longer. I said, and by the way, not to be overly sensitive, but with what I just told you, and he says it'd be a short war because we have nukes, I kind of feel like this guy is threatening to nuke me. So, as my duly elected senator, I ask you to provide protection that the government promises of its citizens, and I want you to protect me from said nuclear weapon. Because I literally feel that I'm getting threatened with a nuke. Oh, and this one lady, Stabenow's representative, she's all like, oh, well, he was never really threatening you, and like he didn't really mean that. And I'm like, oh, really? Because I fit all of his criteria, and he said it'd be a short war because we have nukes. I said, so I don't understand, how we can't see the eye on this, but look, here's the deal. This guy threatened to nuke me, and I want you to do something about it. Well, Representative Wahlberg's staff member was much more polite. They listened through, and the guy even said, I understand where you're coming from, and I'll pass it along to the congressman. And I said, look, I want this guy censured or reprimanded or better yet, removed. At the very least, censured. At least we can put it out there. The United States Congress does not condone a congressman, woman, he, she, at XYZ threatening to nuke people. for actually just being like patriots and trying to stand up for their God-given rights. Like that's our duty as Americans, to not sell something to the government that they're not entitled to own. Give me a break. Like the Revolutionary War started trying to confiscate gunpowder, right? I mean, gunpowder and what they called, I guess that was the assault weapon back then, right? Their cannons and their artillery. So yeah, you know, I mean, so I don't know how you guys feel. I kind of went off on a little rant, but you know, I mean, did you guys feel? And don't get me wrong, I don't mean in a snowflake way. You guys know me better than that. But do you kind of feel in a little bit of a way that you kind of feel he was threatening you a little bit? I kind of think he was threatening me, and probably you too, and you and you and you. I think he was threatening you guys. You know, it's like you don't even bring that up. Now, if me and you are bringing it up and talking about that, we can talk all kinds of shit to each other as friends, right? But this guy is different. He's a United States congressman. And last time I checked, Congress does have the right to declare war. Now, he's only 1/435th. I get that. He can't do it by himself. But you know what? If he gets him and, like, you know, 217 of his friends together, they can actually declare war. Now, it'd be an unconstitutional war. I get all that, but humor me, guys. This is a guy that actually has the partial power to declare war, and he's saying it would be a short war because we have nukes. So let me see what you guys said here. Oh, Mateo's getting very nervous just looking at that PTSD. Hey, man, if you do have PTSD, I actually do respect that, by the way. So I don't want to make light of it, but I know you're joking with me, so whatever, dude. But though I hate to even joke like this, because like there's some real deal badass dudes that like really do have PTSD, and that's a real thing. And I you know, God bless those guys. So I wouldn't make a joke about that, but I'm 99% sure you're joking. So I'll razz you. Let's see here. Couple guys saying, yeah, Warsaw said he'll fight. Oh, okay. Warsaw was saying he didn't actually mean he didn't like Tucker. He loves him and thinks he's awesome. You're being sarcastic. Okay, I think Tucker's pretty cool too, to be honest with you. Let's see here. Swalwell's a dumbass. Oh, Francis is leaving. If you haven't left yet, good night, man. Glad to see you here. Hopefully I'll see you next time again. Always good to see you. Mateo, yes, Swalwell's a moron. Let's just bomb our own infrastructure. And on top of that, any citizens that were loyal sure won't be after that. This guy should be a military commander for our enemies. Oh, I know. So that's like the whole funny part too, right? Like if we were stupid enough to believe that they could buy back something they never owned, how stupid could he be that he's gonna bomb? Like, do you know how many of these freaking things there are, guys? You can go to the most, like, if you let off a legit nuke, it's gonna, like, let's just say for argument's sake, mess up the whole town, right? Like, I'm trying to put this really simplistic terms. The whole town's messed up when you drop a nuke, or towns plural. Do you really think there's a town in America where there isn't one of these that someone's not going to hand over? This guy's literally going to like destroy everybody in the whole country. But you know, we're not supposed to be smart enough to figure that out, right? Yeah. Yeah, Mateo said the obvious. I think I've been kind of alluding. I like to get real sarcastic when it comes to this kind of stuff, guys. It just doesn't, like, it deserves us talking about it, though. Like, we can laugh at him that he's a dumbass all we want, but I challenge you guys, call your representative tomorrow. You know, if you want to call your senators too, that's fine. In this case, it'd be more applicable, really, though, to call your United States representative. Tell them you want them censured, reprimanded, or removed. They have the power to do that to their own members. And you know what? When I call Wahlberg's office, I said, are you familiar with this issue about this Swalwell with the nuke? Do I need to explain it much more, or do you already know? Oh, I'm familiar, sir. Many calls today. Well, that's good. So, yeah, call them tomorrow, guys, you know? Or if you listen to this in a week, call them in a week. Call your representative. In this case, call your rep even before your senator. You can call your senator, too. That's great. Just call them just to call them. Make sure you're getting your tax dollars well spent. They get paid by you and me to answer that phone. Ask for a response. Then they can mail it to you. You know, that's something we're entitled to because they work for us. And me being their boss, I want to report every once in a while on what they're up to. I don't know if you guys look at it the same way, but They need to send me a little progress report once in a while so I find out if I need to try to help fire them or extend their contract with me for another 2 years, you know? That's how I look at it. This guy needs to go away. Yeah. And Warsaw says, yeah, I feel like he's threatening us. I actually do, guys. And here's the thing, though. He is threatening us. He is threatening us. Even if you did believe for some reason that the nuke thing was a joke, he's definitely not joking, guys, about he's going to confiscate, and you can still keep your so-called assault rifle, which this is not. This is clearly not. You can just tell, like, anyone that's ever even touched one of these can tell instantly this is not an assault rifle. But whatever. According to him, it is. And according to him, your M1 Garand's an assault rifle too, by the way. So yeah. He's dead serious, guys. He's dead freaking serious about his gun control proposal. That Swalwell character literally wants us to either buy back or confiscate. And then if we try to declare war against him, he has nukes. Mateo said the House or Senate can expel a member if there's support by at least 2/3 of the members. Yes, but more specifically, do you know this? Yes, the House can do it to a fellow House member. The Senate can do it to a fellow senator. But can the Senate vote to remove a House member or vice versa? That's what I don't think, but I could be wrong. I don't think they can go bicameral with their expulsions. But I'm not a hard yes on that. So correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Mateo says no. So if this was a senator that said that, call your senator. But with this being a House member, call your representative. Tell them, just all in one short and sweet conversation. I don't support House Bill 7115. I don't support Swalwell's confiscation bill when that gets a number because it doesn't have one yet. And I definitely feel like he threatened me with a nuke, and I'd like you to censure him, reprimand him, or remove him. And yes, Mike J, we're still on, but I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. He's a lunatic and a dumbass. I agree. Brastard says it's like the guy claiming to be a time traveler in the 90s about a civil war between the left and right and rule versus city, where our side nuked the leftist cities with Russian help. That's a whole different story, and that's actually a lot deeper. That's, yeah. Oh boy, that alone is something that could be talked about for a while. But I don't know, guys. We had some good VSKA talk tonight. I'm gonna say no. And here's the thing: with all due respect to Rob's test, I'm eager to see what happens, but I kind of lost faith in it. I never had any faith in it. I didn't lose faith. Let me back up. I never had faith in it to begin with. They could have possibly proved me wrong. They absolutely did not prove me wrong, and I'm still just as disinterested as I've ever been. I liked how the maple wood looked, but of course, Century had to cheapen out and use the cheapest soft maple they could too. So I'm going to say the VSKA was a flop. And I hope it just keeps failing left and right so we can just get it out of our hair and move on with it. It's like sometimes you want that ex-girlfriend back. Other times you've broken up and gotten together too many times. You just want to forget her name and never see her mug again. Especially if she's hot. Then you definitely don't want to see her again. If she's hot, you definitely don't want to see her again. And you guys know what I mean. So who cares if that VSKA looks good? Get rid of the stupid thing. Just get it out of here. That's my opinion. Maybe Century can come back for a third or fourth, or well, they're already on their third. They can come back with a fourth or fifth time. I want to see an American company grow, but I'm just sick of their shit. So, yeah. Okay, yep. Article 1, Section 5, Clause 2 of the Constitution, expulsion of a member of Congress. Good, guys. Write that down. And if you want to, I think there's good merits on both. You can call your representative's office and just be nonchalant and be like, hey, look, guys, you know, between you and me, this isn't right. Hook me up, bro, and do the right thing and get rid of this idiot. You can talk to them like that if you want. Or another approach is to go in there, depends what your style is, and say, look, guys, Article 1, Section 5, Clause 2 of the Constitution provides for the manner in which you can expulsion of a member of Congress. And I think what this guy did with threatening to nuke me and my family, that I think it's due to do this, you know. So Yeah, call your representatives. This Swalwell needs to go. He needs to be gone. And it's disgraceful for him to even walk into the people's house with that lady there that's blindfolded with a set of scales and a sword. You know, Lady Justice should reach right over with that sword and chop this dude's head off. And trust me, figuratively and literally, she would if she wasn't a statue. But you guys know what I'm saying. You think the founding fathers would let this cat get by with saying that? Give me a break. Like in previous times is what I'm trying to say, guys. He literally would have been killed for talking like this. Like he literally did something worth getting killed over. Do I want to kill him? No. No one should call their congressman and say we want to kill him. I'm just saying, if he would have done this back in the day, you guys know what would have happened, right? But now, let's just say this. He definitely needs to be at the very least censured or reprimanded by the House. And I think it's going to be a darn shame if our other elected officials, the people we hire to work for us and to help protect our freedom, they're just going to go along with this cat. So, yeah, call him. I did. I called. So, I'm just passing a friendly challenge on, guys. You'd be surprised, man. Just a couple calls on the same topic. That gets them listening. I've had them tell me that before. The guy even told me, honestly, because, oh, he's definitely going to be getting your call, too, because there's been a few of you that's called today. All it takes is a few. They get those couple calls, and they're like, well, hold on a minute. Because they have their stats. So, like, for every one person that actually takes the time out of their schedule to call, there's thousands of people, thousands in their district that feel the same way. They know that. One call is basically the same as 1,000 people telling them, listen, dude, do the right thing. Or ma'am. That's right. I don't want Mateo to keep correcting me. Or ma'am. In the case of Representative Swalwell, it'd be, ma'am, I'm pretty sure he looks a little light in the loafers, guys. If one of you can tell me what he actually is, go ahead. But just don't tell me how you found out. Tim from Max said the VSKA was using several leftover RAS parts and the trunnion was cast. Now, if you could specify, Mel, does he mean just on that one? Like they only used a few on a few rifles? Because I'm pretty sure in their literature, like for the VSKA as a whole, I thought they bragged that the trunnion was this S7. Or maybe Tim's put up a video, guys, since I've had a chance to go on. Like I watched the Jaeger video earlier after Zeke told me about it. And then I was working for a while, and then I popped on here. So if Tim or Jaeger's put up any videos since, I haven't seen those yet, right? So I'm just going by what I've seen. Mateo says with the last name like Swalwell, it's anyone's guess. I know, doesn't Swalwell just sound like Swallowwell? Like if you're down in Alabama, you would literally say Swallowwell, Swalwell. So yeah. Oh, Tim said on the AK files. Okay. So Mel, did he say that it was just like the one Jaeger had, just happened to have a leftover cast trunnion? Or are they all cast? Did he specify that? But that's still, guys, that's still like false advertisement, I think is the right wording for this. If you're marketing this gun, that these guns come with this S7 tool steel supposed milled trunnion, right? Forged trunnion, whatever they called it. You even sell one of them under that SKU with a cast trunnion, at least on that one purchase. Like that's shady, man. That's like shady as heck. Unless, and I don't know the whole story, unless they gave a disclaimer and said, look, Jaeger, we're going to give you these two for free, but just so you know, these still have the cast trunnions and we're trying to dump them. That's why we're going to give it to you for free. If they did that, then I guess it's technically okay, but still shady. But I think it's out and out illegal for you to specify in writing, this does not have a cast trunnion. It has a forged, right, S7 tool steel trunnion, and then you put a cast, you know, South Korean casting trunnion in there anyways. Whew. I'm no lawyer, but that sounds illegal to me, guys. I can't get over that. With a last name like Swallowwell, it's anyone's guess. Man alive. He just needs to be a good girl and get down on his knees, man, and just shut up and get off of the stupid ass Twitters. Oh, cast S7. Again, I don't want to like be libelous, guys. As I said earlier, I'm not qualified to say whether it's illegal or not, but it sounds like, in my opinion, it's either like really shady the way they're marketing all this, or it could possibly be illegal. Okay, it's the very least, it just ain't right. Something's not right with all this jive, and that's what it's reminding me of, is a bunch of jive. Swallow is more like narwhal for a whale. Okay, Mateo says, here's the thing. The Visco is marketed as a S7 trunnion. That would be false advertising. I know, unless like the Raz was really an S7 trunnion and they just didn't tell us. I don't even know. Like, maybe someone knows more about metallurgy than me can chime in. Is like S7 steel even like a steel that's suitable to do for castings? Is all steel even able to cast? I don't know. And if it is able to be, is it even a good idea to cast in the molds, with all types of steel? I'm under the impression certain types of steel take to being cast better than others. I've also been under the impression that certain types of steel, even though you technically could, you probably should never cast with. If I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm really pissed at Century for spreading around information. I don't want to do that either. But I don't know. Here's the thing. We're getting some technical data, and there's different sides of this story. And I know there's going to be more sides to this before it all shakes down. But I think any reasonable person, at the very least, is going to say this whole thing's shady as all get out. Like if one person can honestly, with a straight face, put a comment in here, or if you're watching this afterwards in the lower section, and try to tell me why this isn't shady, because I'd like to know. Yeah, like Mateo said, yeah, don't think the steel tech for the Raz trunnions was ever listed or discussed. And I'll be honest with you, if it was listed or discussed, they did it in a cave, because I never quite heard what that Raz was made out of. And as Mel said, with all due respect, the Raz has lasted longer than the Visca so far. Whew. I hate to say it, but ain't that the truth, guys? Ain't that the truth? Because we're yet to see. Here's the thing that's funny. Tell me what you guys think of this. That second one, the control rifle, whatever one that I saw in the video, right? Because the first one had already failed when the video I watched started. Now, they saw that crack in there way before the 1,500 rounds, right? So I think most of us would say that, like, just because it doesn't literally blow up in your face like a shrapnel bomb, a rifle can completely fail before it gets that far, right? So would anyone disagree with me if I said this rifle didn't fail at 1,500 rounds? It failed when they first noticed that crack. It had already failed. So I think that's what we should be setting the record straight on. I think when people say, Jaeger's Visco only lasted 1,500 rounds, no, I think that's giving it a little bit too much credit. I think it failed way below 1,500 rounds. What do you guys think? The Raz is so ugly, Warsaw. Man, that gas block, like, what the hell is that thing? Like, and here's why, in my opinion, they did it. So when you have, like, these castings that come in, you still have to mill the castings. So just to say it's milled, that doesn't tell us anything about metallurgy, right? We all know that. So you can still have like a cast chunk of steel and then do milling to it, and by technical definition call it mill, whatever. That's a whole other thing. But anyways, I think it was less milling operations to make that gas block like twice as big. And your first inkling is to think to yourself, well, why would they put necessary steel in there? That cost them more money to put in too much steel. No, not really. When they're already buying it as a chunk, as a investment casting, it's actually cheaper for them to mill less off of it and make it bigger than it should be. So that's my opinion on why that stupid ass gas block's twice as big as what it's supposed to be. Okay, so Bradford says I had a friend make a firing pin out of T10 tool steel for a Star 22, and he bragged it wouldn't break, but it broke after 100 rounds. Yeah, and that's on a 22. Which, with all due respect to 22, especially on some, if you dry fire them, their firing pins are more apt to break sometimes than center fires. But with that said, Ruger's 22 firing pins don't break in 100 rounds, right? Century went backwards with light speed momentum. Again, ain't that the truth? And here's the thing Century did too, I noticed. Century started shying away from all their kit builds with the Raz and the C39V2 and now the VSKA. They totally, not just kit builds, but they totally alienated they told Zastava, with the NPAPs and all. Man, I bet you they're gonna wish they wouldn't have burned that bridge with Zastava now. Because Century could really, really start using themselves some Zastavas soon. Or they can just get out of the AK business, which would be preferred at this point. But if they haven't noticed, AK is like the new thing. I think the AK might not be more popular overall, but let's say it has more current popularity than the AR. I'm convinced it does. So, not more numerous, not more popular, but it has more popularity, if you guys know what I mean there. So Century's really screwing up, totally knocking themselves unconscious on the most popular thing in town right now. But yeah, just because it's made out of this steel, that steel, I mean, do you know how much crap I've seen where it says this is space age copolymer? Do you guys remember when that was the big saying back in the day? They always used to say that in the 90s. This is made out of a space age copolymer. And that just sounded like, whoa, shit, I have to buy it. That stuff would break more than phenolic resin or AG4, fiberglass impregnated plastic. We often call Bakelite, but give me a break. I'll take Bakelite over, or AG4 over space age copolymer any day of the week. It's all a bunch of crap. And yeah, like Mateo says, it's the hipster flavor of the week. There used to be a song back in the day that says she's just the flavor of the week, if you guys ever heard that song. But yeah, I don't know, guys. This VSKA, I hate to say, but I told people so, and I'm not just making this up right now. Anytime I was in Zeke's chats, anytime, and you guys know this, and you guys have been the same way. I haven't seen anybody here white knighting for Century, but I've been leery of this VSKA from day one. I was in Jaeger's initial video he did, correcting him on some of his falsehoods, because trust me, he has a lot of room for improvement on his AK knowledge. But anyways, I'll just digress on that because I'll cut the man a little slack. He doesn't claim to be an AK expert. If he did, I'd eat him alive. But with all due respect, he doesn't claim to be an AK expert, and he is absolutely not an AK expert. However, when I was done correcting him, I said, I'll be honest, guys, but I want the VSKA to fail. And you can go look at my comment on there. And I wanted it to fail, even though I kind of wanted it to succeed. But I just know, man, Century, shit. You can't teach an old dog new tricks that easy. But all right, guys, it's kind of late. Time flies. I had fun tonight. Sorry I haven't been on the last few weeks. I missed you guys, and I miss doing this. I do have a lot of fun doing this. And it's just been, I thought maybe I had to do it on Saturdays, or Sundays, rather, because streaming, let's just put it this way, streaming's pretty popular on YouTube nowadays, and there's guys a hell of a lot more popular than me that I would assume you guys like more than me as far as watching their streams. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go on when the Yankee Marshall's on. I don't want to go on when Hank Strange is on. And then now everyone's, Jaeger's even live streaming, all these guys, and of course Zeke. Well, Zeke's like one of us, he's part of the crew, obviously. I'm going to make sure I'm never streaming what Zeke is, because I look forward to watching Zeke streams just as much as I enjoy doing my own. So Zeke's like a total separate thing, right? But but even just the other guys that I'm not necessarily friends with, I didn't want to be competing with them. But here's the facts, guys. I appreciate if you can come in here, but I got to do this during the week. Sundays just happen to be like the only day I can really spend much time with my daughter. And as much as I like this, she's more important than this. So with that said, I'm going to be coming on during the week now. And like I said, again, I know there's a lot more popular guys than me, but I feel honored that at one point I had like 14, 15 people in here. I got like 72 subs and had like 14 or 15 people. That's like huge. So there's in other words, I don't want to be popular. That's not the point. What I mean by is like if I see like even 8 right now after rambling for 2 hours and 40 minutes, that's what makes me realize like this is actually worth doing, right? That's all I mean by that. So when I say like I'm happy to see a number of people in here, it just makes it feel more worthwhile. But I never aspired to be popular, and I know I never will be. So Cave Dave would rather watch me than the Yank. But here's the thing. Would you rather watch me than Jaeger? That's where I'm going to lose. So most of you guys are going to say, I'd rather watch you than Yankee. Okay, gotcha. But now when I say, but what about when we throw Jaeger in, that's when I'm going to watch my list just go down to like 0, right? Because I know you guys want to watch Jaeger live stream. That's like look at guys, watching Jaeger live stream would be like saying, oh, I'm a Playboy subscriber and I only buy it to read the articles. That's just the best analogy I can think of, guys. Literally, the guy that probably looks forward to Jaeger's live streams the most, he is the guy that buys Playboy only for the articles. And his last name's probably Swallowwell, too. His, her, he, she, non-binary, non-conforming, XYZ, ABCD, GFKYZ, non-conforming. Swalwell. I gotta be politically correct, guys. I don't want to tear misgender the man. It'd be a crime in New York if I did, right? So, you know what I'm gonna do, guys? Okay, hold on. Warsaw brought up a point. What about this? I'm gonna try to get like 300,000 subs, okay, guys? And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say I'll answer all super chats only. And then like the dollar ones, there's only like a 50% chance I'll answer those. But if you give me like $5 and up super chat, I'll answer you no matter what, unless I forget you, but pretty much no matter what. Does that sound familiar? I think it's kind of, here's the thing. I get it. You have 1 million subscribers and you've got 300 people at once. I know you can't read them. But I just hate it when the guys say like, I will only answer super chats. Just don't answer anybody. But to say I have to pay you to get an answer, man, I just rather them say, like, literally, I won't answer anybody or I'll answer random people. I think you guys know what I mean, though. Right. So, Cave Dave, here's the thing with Jaeger. Like, on his live stream, that is not like, okay, look, I'm not a subscriber of Jaeger. I can understand why many people are. I'm not even going there, like whether you should like him or not. I tuned into his live stream a little bit. Let's just say this. Of his whole library, his live stream is not like the must-read of the library. I would actually say like his live stream is probably like, I guess I'll just say it's kind of below him a little bit. The live stream's just not a class act, I guess. And I think Dave got exactly what I meant by that. I don't know, man. The live stream, whatever. So I could see someone being the biggest Jaeger fan ever, but not necessarily wanting to go on the live stream and just kind of like talk about whose dick's bigger or whatever, you know. My dick's bigger, but I only watch, I only read Playboy for the articles. However, my dick's still bigger. You guys know what I'm talking about. Jaeger is one of those guys. I've never met him. I could actually see him being cool as hell in person, but just an internet douchebag on his live streams. I can actually see that. Like, I'm going to say I don't like him based on I only know his, like, internet persona. But I can't really say I don't like him because I've actually never met the man. So I want to be careful with that. I don't want to prejudge him because there's some pretty cool dudes in real life that aren't on the internet, and then vice versa. There's some dudes that are pretty cool online that wouldn't want to piss on them if they were on fire in real life, you know? Yeah, Brass. Jaeger said the lugs break off. Like metal mags, but like the Magpul Gen 1s or whatever without the reinforcement, those never. He's full of crap. That's not even true. That's not even true, guys. Dent, sure. They've been known to dent. The downfall of a metal mag is, yes, it does dent sometimes. Let's face it. Anyone that says they don't dent never dropped one. Yes, they dent. They're not perfect. However, that's a bunch of crap. The feed lips do not break off, or nor do the lugs break off. It'll bend before it breaks. It's back to that metallurgy thing again. Some metal breaks, VSKA. Some metal bends. Conblock Magazine likes to bend. Wars, I like to talk to Dan Blazerian, rather. Yeah, that's because he always has like 30 hotties with him at once. He has like 10 times more game, is why. Okay, Mateo. Have you guys ever noticed this with Mateo? He's always that guy that as soon as you think you got it all figured out, then there's that guy. He has to basically make you look like the fool you know you are. But he's right. Okay, so with that said, Mateo says maybe on those cheap Korean mags. All right. So, okay, guys, let me rephrase this. The Model AK mag, it bends, it doesn't break, blah, blah, blah. Well, but the Korean. Is that better? Really? Warsaw says he even stopped talking to a certain somebody that's quite famous and even possibly blocked him. And his live stream people weren't even responding. Even his subs and his viewers. Really? Whew. He's gotten pretty famous too. And tends to drink too much too. Okay, yeah. I know, Bradford. He says he sees it all the time. This is the same dude that just said, I have 18 of these rifles and have trained thousands of people. Well, first of all, how's big is because it's class. The rifle's only been out for like, I don't know, maybe he got one a month ago. He's really had thousands of people go through his he's had thousands of people go through his class in the last month, but not just his classes in general, specifically his AK class. And then like of the ones that use the AK, most of them probably brought their own. So of the ones that didn't bring one and had to use his loaner AK, he's had thousands of people take his AK class and not bring their own. It may be true, guys. I'm not going to doubt him, but before I believe that, I go, call up George Strait and buy that oceanfront property he sings about before I'd honestly believe that. Like I said, not going to necessarily call the man a liar, but I'm not going to oblige him or believe him either. So, Internet fave, she comes and she goes. Got you, Mateo. Now you, my man, just violated the gender laws. What if it happens to be internet fame? He comes and he goes, huh? What if you call Swalwell a she, but she's actually a he? Huh? What about it that? That's it. Someone get Reverend Sharpton in here. Mateo just called fame with the female pronoun. Ooh. I'm highly offended. He's my only moderator in here, though, so we're not going to do much about that. Look, guys, I don't even want a moderator. You know why? You know why he's a moderator in here? That's so when YouTube's algorithm censors people and they're cussing or whatever they're saying, right? He's literally, and he knows this too. I said, right off the bat, I said, hey, man, have my back and unblock whenever Warsaw cusses. Because so that's what's funny. In my stream, I only have a moderator in here, and one's plenty per stream, trust me. That's just to stop YouTube from doing their stupid algorithm, or bot censoring, right? And that's truly why I like to have a moderator in here, so people can say more of what they want to say. Let's see here. He sees it all the time. Yeah. Internet fame. Okay, right now Jaeger is in a basement, furiously filing away AK mag logs. Or he's on his freaking knees begging Century to still freaking finish giving him the second half of that royalty check. Because they're probably not wanting to finish paying him right now. Okay, Warsaw sent me an email. He's getting sleepy. I'm getting sleepy. So if you guys had anything last minute to say, go ahead. If not, I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys here in, let's say, a week from now. I'm real quick just checking my email and seeing if anyone has a last minute question or comment. Let's see if yep, it says this is Americansky AK is what it says his real name is. Americansky AK. And then he says this is Warsaw Patriot. So actually, just so you guys know, I'm on a real first name basis with this so-called Warsaw guy. And his name is actually AK. So I think someone was doubting him earlier. I think me and Mateo was ragging on him, but I just confirmed his real name is Americansky. Google even told me so itself. Okay, good night, Cave Dave. I just have to say one more thing. Mateo, man. He says Jaeger's got grandkids to feed. The VSKA will be retested and it will pass. I swear to God, dude, you're right. Oh my God. And I think you're right about the grandkids. Holy shit, man. You're pretty funny, dude, sometimes. Okay, Warsaw, I can imagine James' face turning like about to be like a big red faced tomato. Actually, his face was pretty red, dude, with all due respect. It was actually pretty red. All right, guys, that's some funny stuff. So you guys are getting tired, I'm getting tired. And yeah, good chat, and I'm really glad to have you guys here with me. It made it fun and I learned quite a bit. Oh my gosh, there's a reason why Jaeger was off screen so much. Voter from Popeye the Sailor. Oh, you guys are funny. All right, man. Good night, guys, and take it easy. And thanks for talking with me. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one.